Can you hear me now? No? Okay, can folks hear us now? Am I hearing people now?
Can you hear me now?
There's a delay on our end, so... Oh, now audio is too loud. Martino's now saying audio is too loud. Okay, they can hear us now. Welcome, everybody, to the PGS Members-Only Chat with the one and only RMB, Robert Meyer Burnett. Rob, how are you doing?
Well, aside from my back, I couldn't even go on the John Campea show yesterday.
Oh no!
I fell off a ladder. A ladder slipped out when I was cleaning off the roof of the observatory, and then it was weird. The other day I just coughed driving, and it felt like somebody just stuck a knife in my back, and it's been hurting all week. It's getting better now, though. I had a shot.
Sorry.
Nothing's permanently damaged. I can't. I'm old.
That's the thing. At our age, that's what starts to happen.
I know, man. It's all downhill from here. That's why I
experience all those aches and pains, and our bodies don't recover as quickly as they used to.
I'm waiting for I want to download with all this, all these YouTube videos about how to use all of our new AI tools. I can't wait to download my personality into like a generational starship. So, I saw something really interesting today.
Yeah.
That really interesting video about the implications of this AI. And they were talking about the fact that, it's a pretty good bet if there is intelligent life in the universe that it would also, the singularity would have reached it, and they would be using AI tools, and advanced AI would eventually replace physical bodies and all that. And the guy made the point, he said, if we keep looking for aliens, but it's a good bet that we're not looking in the right place, and that we have already been colonized by alien AI, and the code is just waiting for enough infrastructure and enough processing power to manifest itself. So it's already in the internet, like an alien intelligence is already there, not necessarily malevolent,
right?
But it's just waiting for the point when it can communicate with us in a way that we would understand.
So it's a bit of a Star Trek First Contact thing, except that instead of the advanced civilizations waiting for a warp signature to be manifested by another civilization, it's the code waiting for us to catch up to its potential, right?
So what's interesting is, I was like, I'd never I've read a lot of science fiction in my life, but I'd never read a story quite like that. You know, you talk about like von Neumann machines, which are self-replicating machines that could colonize the galaxies and things like that. But it was very interesting. I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. Or there could be, you know, AI robots that are walking amongst us that are flesh and blood, like basically replicants or Cylons.
Yeah,
you know, that are already here, that are, you know, malleable, adaptable, and they're just studying us, and we would never know.
Yeah,
you know, and they're completely AI. And I was like, I like that idea.
Some of them could be among the members that are here to chat with you today.
It could very well be. I'd love to believe that our AI overlords are members of the Burnettwork.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and let them in. I know this is your favorite part here, Rob. So we're gonna go ahead and admit all of our members into the Zoom call. So we'll get to see the cascading effect here. Welcome, everybody.
I do like that.
Boom, 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 boom. And we have gotten a few new members just in this morning, and there's some folks wondering, where do they access the Zoom chat? Remember that as soon as you become a member, you should have access in the Burnettwork page within YouTube. There should be a tab that says membership, and you should be able to see the posts there that Rob puts out.
Yeah, the link is there.
With the link to the Zoom chat, because we're trying to keep the link, you know, reserved for members only. That's why we don't post it publicly. So, but welcome everybody, and remember that once you enter the Zoom chat, if you would like to join, as I can see many of you have done already, you raise your hand using I think it's the gestures feature in Zoom. And yeah,
two men enter, one man leaves.
The reactions feature in Zoom.
It's Thunderdome here, all up in this hizzle.
So yeah, welcome everyone. And
who run Bartertown? Master Blaster.
People lining up for questions. Great, welcome everyone. And then I have a new feature, Rob, because I know people are sometimes having trouble keeping track of time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remain pinned when you're having a chat with one of our members, but then check this out. I will become a clock. Can you see me becoming a clock on the Zoom chat? Like this?
Oh my God.
All right. So then you'll have a timer right there on screen, whether you're online or on Zoom. You should be able to then see my clock timer going. And then you can keep track of the time that way. And then when it's time for me to cut you off, I'll just reappear magically, and we'll go from there. We'll try it this time. All right?
Yeah, we got to keep this under 5 hours.
I know.
Mostly because I'm building my Starship Andromeda.
That's right. I saw the YouTube post. So let's go ahead and get things started.
Bro.
Now that's a is it Yamato related?
Yeah. Star Blazers Yamato. It's my third favorite, actually probably my fourth favorite fictional star. There it goes: Starship Enterprise, Eagle Transporter from Space 1999, Millennium Falcon, and the Andromeda.
There you go.
Probably.
I think among my top is the Discovery from 2001. Yeah,
that's pretty good, but you know, it just can't. It's not very functional.
Not very practical. But I've always
it doesn't have doesn't have an FTL drive. It has no weapons.
That spinal. I think just from a physical standpoint, the spinal kind of shape of it.
Oh no, it's cool.
Me. Yeah.
I just like the Andromeda because it's got dual wave motion guns and it kicks ass.
Yeah.
And I never thought anybody would make a 4.5-foot model of it. I mean, it's just enormous.
All right, so I'm going to switch things off here so we can go into one-on-one mode with Rob. Let me just pin myself, like I had said. Yeah. And then let me look for, where did Rob go?
And by the way, Stubble, thanks for sending me that clip from yesterday's show that I missed. That was the fun. I watched that. I couldn't stop laughing for 5 minutes. That was some funny shit. Can't believe I missed it. Damn it.
And we've got SA Thigpen kicking us off. So let me go ahead and add SA here.
Did you survive the storm, SA, up in Northern California?
And SA, you should be able to unmute now.
Yeah, I was actually in Chicago for a lot of it. So I underplayed my car, which fortunately is all-wheel drive on the 101 and the 87 to San Jose a few times. But I didn't hydroplane. It felt like it. I was driving through water.
Oh, me too. I mean, it was
inches.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
But we needed. I heard that the Sierra Nevada snowpack is as much as it was. It has the biggest snowpack in 40 years. So hopefully that will help our drought conditions here in the lovely state of California.
Yeah, that would be good. Environment is, I don't know. I mean, it's like they're green hills here. We dropped the U.S. has dropped its carbon a good amount, but until we get all the way in, hopefully we'll switch to hydrogen and have the Venus economy instead of these blood batteries. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Fusion. We need that fusion, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, then there were all the videos actually for that. All of the fusion. It was maybe 90% of it. Of the power that they didn't count. They didn't count the power for over unity. About 90% of the power they didn't count for over unity.
Hey, it's got to start somewhere,
Yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of politics to that, like nuclear weapons. You can build nuclear weapons from a Mr. Fusion reactor. So, I mean, there's a lot of crazy politics going on there. But I did manage to see Avatar in Chicago, which my experience with the 3D, it was less immersive than the first one. When I saw the first one, I saw it in an IMAX in the Bay Area here and over in East San Jose, which is actually a nice theater. And yeah, I felt totally immersed by the 3D. And it was like all the fluorescence of the forest and all of that stuff. The second one, it was more of a water feel. I think what they're doing with the world building there is really interesting and compelling. I agree with you there. But I don't know. I mean, it didn't have the pacing I liked. The first one seemed to have better pacing.
It was more focused.
Yeah. And the plot was somewhat open-ended. I agree that all of the whale stuff was interesting. But, it was kind of slower. My favorite part of Avatar was the unreleased footage of the 15 minutes of him on Earth before they went off.
I just watched that.
Yeah, we need more deep cyberpunk, I think.
I think we need more. I mean, I had questions about, the no mention of unobtainium and how did they figure out the whales had this life extending elixir, having been there only really a year whaling.
Yeah. I don't know what he's doing with that. Maybe he's just throwing in his water stuff.
Well, I think, like I said, I think ultimately he's looking, this is his way of saving the planet. Rather than get politically active, he's making these epic movies that he hopes people will become more aware of the ecological state of the world.
Yeah.
As opposed to trying to lecture to Congress or something. He's going to the people.
Yeah, I think a lot of the deep cyberpunk stuff speaks to that. I mean, when I liked Johnny Mnemonic, wasn't a great movie, but just the aesthetic of that, obviously Blade Runner being kind of the apex of it.
Yeah,
it does speak to a lot of the socioeconomics as well. So yeah, it's interesting to see that tech from cyber to actually going into space. And how that transition takes place is interesting. There's so many ways to do that.
Absolutely,
it's crazy. But yeah, the cyberpunk to the space, they do that in Avatar. I think they do that really well, but they don't go into what's going on with Alpha Centauri. Why does it take XYZ? They don't really lay out the world to that extent. It's more about the Na'vi, which are just kind of an analog for colonialization and how we did that on Earth in terms of our exploration here. Yeah,
I totally agree. But I mean, I still think it's an engaging story. And it's really interesting. When was the last time? It's a family film. It's about a father, dad, and his kids, and his adoptive daughter, and trying to keep his family together. I mean, when do you see family movies where it's aside from the violence and the killing of animals and the destruction of the ecosystems, it's at least you've got a man who wants to keep his kids happy and his wife happy, and they have a functioning nuclear family unit, and that's kind of inspiring.
Yeah, I agree with you about Quidditch or Quaritch or whatever. Steve Lang's character.
Yeah, I just love seeing. I mean, Stephen Lang. The first time I remember seeing Stephen Lang was in Michael Mann's Manhunter back in what, 86. You know, when he played Freddie Lowndes, the reporter that was exposing Will Graham, and it's cool to see him, you know, almost 40 years later kicking ass in Avatar.
Yeah, he has a little workout video. Apparently, he lives on the Hudson River, and he has like he does all the organic foods and organic bodybuilding. Yeah, and he shows he shows his weight routine and his diet. He's 70. He's over 70 now, but he's totally jacked.
I mean, he looked great in the first Avatar. I mean, he was really buff, but he was, and I love his character. I mean, I love the way he portrays that character. I love the voice that he's found for him. You know, and he was great in the Don't Breathe movies.
I did not catch any of those.
Oh, what? See the first Don't Breathe.
Okay.
It's fucking great. And if you like suspense thrillers, it's really good.
I'm not into horror, but I like suspense thriller. So I will definitely check that.
It's good.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll win, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite movie is still Tar. My favorite movie of the year ultimately is Tar. Yeah.
Well, Kate Blanchett looks good in that.
She's incredible.
I don't know how those people do it, but they have their own longevity drugs cooked up there already. I'm convinced.
Yeah, I mean, she's like barely aged in 25 years.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. You know what it is? No, she doesn't. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, good talking to you.
Yeah, good to see you. Always good to chat.
I'll be around.
All right, we will. We'll be back. We'll see you in 2 weeks, I guess.
All right. Cool.
And Dieter and I are back tomorrow, and we're doing Midnight Musings tonight at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can talk. I'm still demuted.
Yeah.
I can go on. See.
Yes. Really? Oh, he must have been great. Oh. Yeah, but you know what? I'm sure they had to, Jack Nicholson, not that Stephen Lang, totally. Wow. Amadeus himself. I'm a big fan of Tom Hulce. I mean, he was like great in Animal House. He was great in Local Hero. Oh no, that was Peter Riegert. But he's great. He's a great actor. So what do you think of Brandon Sanderson pulling off his books off of Amazon to protest the way they treat independent authors?
Well, it's not all the books. It's just the secret project he had, the 4 books, and it's the audiobooks, so they're not on Audible. It's the audiobooks, so they're not on Audible. They're on other platforms. But he's trying to highlight the problem there is with their near monopoly on the market. So
I like that. I like that he's doing that.
Yeah. So anyway, I got my new shirt, and it's I don't see if you can see it. Maybe it's the other way around.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that?
TeePublic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got to get me some Andor swag.
Yeah, and I got this this one, Splattercon. It's a fictional horror movie convention in the Dresden Files, where there are a lot of horror movies killing people.
Right.
Horror movie creatures killing people. So
Right.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I won't go into it, but I got 2 new leather-bound books.
And what are they? Wow, those are beautiful.
They are the second era of the Mistborn series. So think Clint Eastwood meets Sherlock Holmes with magic.
I'm in.
And the main character has the ability to push on metal to make it move away from him, so he can shoot a bullet so it goes further, harder, faster.
Oh, that's cool. Right? Yeah, that's cool.
And then he has the ability to change his density, so he can be lighter or heavier. So, but yeah, those are his limitations. But it's essentially Clint Eastwood meets Sherlock Holmes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I was up until 5 a.m. this morning, and I was not partying around as you might think I do every day.
Yeah, you were, dude. You were at a dance club.
No.
Yeah, you were. Stubble's tearing up the floor with your moves.
Yeah,
you were doing the Wednesday dance. You were doing the Wednesday dance in a club till 5 a.m. I'd like to imagine that's exactly what you were doing.
Right. No. It's more or less the 10th anniversary of the last book of the Wheel of Time coming out, and Samson had said that it's there was some secret that people hadn't figured out that he was going to reveal.
Oh.
And they were a little bit controversial, and we had a lot of discussion afterwards. But essentially, it was a character that everyone thought was dead, wasn't dead, and all the hints were there, and everyone went, right, I get it now. So I have slept about 3 hours.
Wow.
Morning or something.
Oh, it's good to have you. Good to see you. Yeah. And good. I always love it when you write into the John Campea show.
Well, when I have something to say,
that's good.
Send something in. Yeah. Anyway, I watched Dune. We watched Dune.
Which one? The new one?
The new one.
And what'd you think?
It grows on me more and more. I loved it when it came out, and it's getting better every time I see it.
I agree. I've been watching it since I set up our media room with the Dolby Atmos system in it. It is. I mean, it's funny because in a way he kind of remade Lynch's Dune. There's a lot of scenes. I mean, I know he's taking scenes from the book and everything, but
he's taking out all the cheese from the cheesy stuff.
Yeah. Yes, he took out all the and what's interesting, like he made interesting choices. Like when you first see Charlotte Rampling, the Reverend Mother, I wish her face wasn't covered. I mean, I know you see her later when she goes and sees the Harkonnens, but I love her so much. I have to say that I cannot wait, because the more I watch that movie, the more I like it. I find it strangely hypnotic. I love watching it because it's the only movie I think I've ever seen in my life where you cannot see a visual effect. Like everything looks absolutely real.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only one shot in the whole movie. I think it's when one of the transport ships is emerging from the water in Caladan. There's like one shot where I'm like, only because I'm a special effects junkie, where you could be like, but still, like all the stuff on Arrakis, the visual effects are, and it's very funny because I'm such a stickler for VFX, and it's all about the design of the shot. Like it can be cool. People are like, oh, that's such a cool effect shot. But to me, if an effect shot calls attention to itself, it failed. Yeah. It has to be, and that film is absolutely seamless. The ornithopters and all that. I mean, and I don't even know how they did it. Like, how do you, especially when you're relying on CG, how do you make something look perfectly real? I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to part 2 later this year. And the Sisterhood, I guess it's going to be released maybe at the same time. I don't know where the.
Yeah, I mean, they keep adding. My only problem with the Sisterhood, I mean, the problem that I have with Dune is I respect Kevin J. Anderson and I respect Brian Herbert, and I understand the need that they carried on Brian's father's legacy. But to me, you know, I haven't read a lot of those Dune sequels. I've read a few of them, like the Butlerian Jihad and all that. And some of the stuff I agree with, but some of it I don't.
Yeah.
And to me, Dune is only the 6 Herbert books, and the sequels, like the Sisterhood's going to be about the origins of the Bene Gesserit. So they're going back to Brian Herbert and Kevin Anderson's work. And I understand that. But to me, I'm going to watch it. Yeah. And I understand, like, how did the Bene Gesserit begins their idea of seeding mythologies and cultures like the Fremen and the people that live on Arrakis to sort of bring forth their super being, but it doesn't seem like it's authentic. It's not like George R.R. Martin being involved in House of the Dragon.
Yeah. I wonder if they're going to do Messiah's Part 3. I don't know how people will receive it because it's not the uplifting kind of story.
No. Well, it's funny. It would be funny only for all those people that think Dune is a white savior story.
Yeah.
Which it's so not. But that was, to me, what I heard, that was always the plan, that they were going to make a Dune trilogy, and it was going to be Dune. Dune was always going to be split into 2 movies. So instead of part 1, it was going to be Dune. Dune Prophet was going to be the second part, which makes sense. And then they were going to adapt Dune Messiah.
Yeah.
And then you'd kind of have the rise and fall of Paul Atreides.
Yeah. I don't know if my time is up or what's the deal.
It is up. I'm sorry, Stubble.
Yeah.
I'm being a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
Because it's you. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
Good to see you, man. Yeah. You're going to get some sleep anyway. 3 hours.
I know.
Dancing in the clubs, man.
All right. Rob, we have a couple of super chats. I just want to make sure I point them out. Martino Sulmoni, how are the voiceovers coming? I'm photoshopping Roberto's epic glasses on a Playmobil right now. Martino, I owe you my audio. And now that you said that,
I'm going to do it this weekend. I feel terrible.
I'll get it done this weekend, I promise. And then shout out to David Gonzalez, or David Gonzalez, who became a new member. And
thank you, sir, David.
Science Beat. By the way, Martino Sulmoni, $10, 10 CHF. I can't remember what the currency is, but thank you so much, Martino. And then Science Beat, it looks like 20 pounds. Data Science AI is helping study data which has still not been analyzed from satellites, radio telescopes from the beginning of NASA in the 1950s. I hope you are feeling better.
Yeah, well, it was just my back. I'm feeling better. Thank you. I mean, yesterday I went, it was just incredibly painful, and I could barely move. I was having a hard time this week, and then, yeah.
And I think my audio wasn't working the last time. It was working in Zoom, but apparently it wasn't going out to YouTube. I'm hoping that people can hear me now. If you're able to hear me, just send me a thumbs up or let me know. But okay, I mean, it's not as important for you to hear me. It's important for our members. So the next one up is Marcus Bisma. Gonna go ahead and add you here, Marcus. And Marcus, you should be able to unmute now.
Hi, Rob.
Hello. What's going on, man?
That's good. So I just saw Glass Onion, and I thought it was really fun.
It was fun. I really liked it a lot.
I mean, if you really think about it, you could have nitpicked the movie to pieces, but
yes,
I choose to ignore it. I mean, because the movie was so fun that I ignore all the things that don't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's things that don't make sense, but I did it. It was just really entertaining to me.
Yeah. So Rob, on the topic of nitpicks, I've been thinking about this a lot. So recently I saw an Indonesian movie with my mom. It's set in the 80s. It's about a nun who fall in love with a priest. And we end up nitpick the hell out of it because the way the character talk doesn't make sense for in the 80s. That they got wrong accents, they got wrong cars, wrong train, they got a lot of things wrong from the period. I mean, if you could ignore all the nitpicks, the movie's pretty good. But the thing is, we got in the rabbit hole of nitpicking instead of enjoying the movie. I mean, what do you think about nitpicking?
Well, here's the thing. It really depends. Like, look, as a Star Trek fan, I've been nitpicking my whole life, never more so than the last 5 years. But I think when a movie's finished, you know, you have, like, it drives me crazy. For instance, I'll tell you, like in the first season of Stranger Things, it's supposed to take place in the 80s, and the Millennium Falcon toy that they had for the Star Wars figures was a re-release of that toy from the late 90s, and they had it in the mid 80s, and I'm like, oh, that's not authentic. And I can't stand it when they don't get songs right. Like a song's in a movie and it's supposed to be taking place now, but that song might not have been released until a year later. To me, that's really sloppy research, and I find that annoying. But at the end of the day, I think if a great story that has great characters in it, if the story is great, it should trump nitpicks, unless there are things within the story that are not thought through enough, where you're left to question plot points. I think if your nitpicks get in the way of your enjoyment of the story itself, they're legitimate.
I mean, like, as a filmmaker, isn't that every movie you are required to suspend disbelief? And as a filmmaker, I mean, is that what you expected from the audience?
Well, I mean, like, you not really, because you never really know what people will bump on. Like, when you're editing a movie, when you're putting a movie together, my philosophy of it is we have to get rid of everything that bothers us that we can get rid of. There are certain things you just can't get rid of. And so you just have to do the best that you can. And ultimately, I always, you know, it's like, look, if you look at editing in Martin Scorsese movies, a lot of the time there's not a lot of continuity. You know, like you'll see somebody smoking a cigar, and from shot to shot, it'll go from here to here to here to here, from shot to shot. But Thelma Schumacher always takes story over or character or the performance over continuity, and people can be very nitpicky of that.
I mean, like, in the era of YouTube, there's a lot of channels that nitpicks movies, like Cinematography.
Yeah,
I don't know if it do they condition people to nitpicks. I don't know.
Well, I think that they do, but to me, it really depends on, like, you can nitpick a movie to death, and my whole point is that, you know, I think that it does change the focus of what people find important, you know, and when they start, it conditions people to look for nitpicks. You can find things in every movie, you know, find things that can be objectionable or questionable or whatever. The question that I have is that, you know, what is a movie? I mean, a movie is a story. And to me, I nitpick story points more than I'll nitpick, oh, this car didn't exist yet or something. Even when I know that a song comes out at a different time. It just depends. You know, it really depends.
I mean, like, Mark Kermode said, the British critics, that if you enjoy the movie, if you enjoy what you see, all those nitpicks doesn't matter. And I agree with that. You start to pay less attention on the details, and even maybe the plot points, if you enjoy what you see.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But that's what I think. For me, it's always characters and story. And if the characters, you know, it's like the old adage. People said to Steven Spielberg when he made Jaws, if you shoot a compressed air tank, it won't explode. That won't happen. And Spielberg said, you know what? If I have the audience during the movie, if they believe in this shark to the end of the film, they'll believe that air tank will explode. And he was right.
Speaking of Spielberg, I just saw Fabelmans. It was good.
I liked it. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to, though.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the scenes with Michelle Williams and Paul Dano are excellent, but when they're not in it, the movie's not as good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
But there are some scenes that are really stand out and stuck in my head for a long time. It's a movie with high moments, and okay, it's a mixed bag, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I really liked it though. I mean, it was very interesting getting insight into Spielberg's life, his early life, and what it wasn't something that was unexpected, but I did like it a lot, and of course it's beautifully made, and the performances I thought were pretty good. I mean, it was it was any movies. No one can make movies like Steven Spielberg can. So
I agree with that. Looks like my time's out. Thanks for your time, Rob.
Yeah, it's good to see you, man.
Nice to see you.
Stubble, are you? Oh no, I mean,
I'm muted. Hold on, it's my bad.
Oh,
now there we go. So I should be able to remove Marcus now. There we go. Sorry about that. I've got too many pieces of software running at the same time. Rob, I got to see RRR and the menu over the holidays.
In the theater? Oh, you did?
From at home.
What did you think? It's funny. I watched the menu again last night. What did you think of the menu?
I enjoyed it. It felt like a combination of a satire, like something along the lines of, I don't know, like the Triangle of Sadness or something about kind of a satire of the wealthy mixed with The Most Dangerous Game. It kind of had a bit of a combination of those two things for me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought that I didn't think it quite worked in the end. I mean, I understood what they were going for.
Yeah, and at some point you kind of have to kind of accept, because one of the things that I found a bit shocking is, okay, none of these people are really trying that hard to escape from the island. I mean, you would think as a group, you would try to overwhelm, the folks. But I read an interview with the director where he said that the idea was to portray that these are all people who have dealt in life with resolving problems by throwing money at them. And so when that is not an option, they freeze, basically. And that the only one that has the creativity to think about outside of the box about how to solve a problem that doesn't require just throwing money at it is Margot, right? The Margot character.
Right.
So then he kind of learns to respect that and lets her escape, because she's actually somebody who is not part of the kind of what he's condemning with his actions.
Sure. Yeah, and we've seen stories like that in the past, you know, where even to a certain extent Glass Onion has that. But I liked it. I didn't love it.
Yeah. I can see that. All right.
But I really did like I really did like watching it.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and see how Chris is doing. Chris, you should be able to unmute now, my friend. Welcome.
Hi, Rob.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going great. Have you seen Megan yet?
I have not.
Oh,
I have not.
I think you're going to have a very good time.
You know what's funny? It looks like it's going to make $27 million, which means I was right.
You were.
I was right. I knew it was going to make more money than John Campea said, 19 million. I was like, no, dude, it's going to make more.
Dude, I was honestly I was expecting it to be pretty good because I knew it was Blumhouse and James Wan, but it was actually like way better than I thought. Like I was honestly like taken aback at how much I was like in. Like I was fully into it because it's like I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's like we've seen AI movies like Terminator and like this kind of premise before, but like this did it in such a way where you're like it hit too close to home in a very interesting way, especially with like I have an 8-year-old nephew and him like trying to get his iPad away from him sometimes. It's like taking crack from somebody. You know what I mean? And the part of the movie kind of explores that, and I was like, "This is way too real." Oh my god!
Well, that's what I watched Chris Stuckman's review of it this morning, and he was talking about how he was surprised by how much it gets into about parenting and how it's not just a killer doll movie, that it has something actually to say, which I think is great.
Yeah, and it was beautiful in so many strange ways. Like, I really loved it. But okay, so I have a lot of stuff that I wanted to get to and not a lot of time. But did you ever read like the old Star Wars universe stuff?
Yeah, not all of it.
Right. Well, there was way too much. I tried to read some of it, and there was a lot of it, and I got to a point I was like, oh, this is not good. Like, some of the stuff was not great. But
well, when you talk about old stuff, you're talking like pre the
Disney.
Thrawn trilogy.
Well,
pre Disney. Okay, so
yeah.
There was a ton of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I didn't read.
But Star Wars Legacy,
right?
The comic series. Did you ever read that? Okay, I can't believe that people don't talk about it more.
Well, I don't understand. Like, I think Hollywood really missed out on the Dark Horse comics.
Oh, I cannot agree with you more. I can't believe
the Dark Horse, whether it was Aliens, Predator, Star Wars, the IPs that they got a hold of and they published comics for. It is a damn shame that whether it was AVP, whether it was Alien sequels, that they didn't look into those. Because look, there's a hierarchy in Hollywood, and it's unfortunate, but this was explained to me a week ago, that if somebody, like, for instance, they'll hire like Michael Chabon on Star Trek Picard. Oh, we hired Michael Chabon, Pulitzer Prize winner. Well, he's worked on a movie or two, but he hasn't really worked on a television show to be a showrunner. Yeah, but he's got a Pulitzer Prize. And they'll hire people like that have the credits, but they're not necessarily a good fit for whatever it is that's going to get made. And to me, like those Dark Horse comics, when you see whether it's that first Alien versus Predator versus Alien story they did on that planet, that would have made a great movie. But Hollywood, nobody in Hollywood's going to look at a comic book because of the hierarchy of, we're going to hire a J.J. Abrams rather than look at a comic book and go, we're going to adapt this. And to me, that's so wrongheaded, because what they should be looking toward is the best story.
Well,
have Star Wars Legacy comics were great.
Has that started to change a little bit now?
Not really. I mean, I think with like Star Trek Strange New Worlds, they've been ripping off Star Trek novels and other people's novels, which I find kind of really gross, with no attribution. When you're ripping off, and they're not ripping off obscure novels, they're ripping off Ursula K. Le Guin.
And there's so many good sci-fi writers now too that are huge Star Trek friends that they could get at a reasonable price. Like, there's so many. I don't mean mid-level in any sort of like way to say about their art. They're fantastic authors, a lot of them, but like, I just mean like sales wise, right? Like, there's tons of those guys that you could easily hire to write very amazing inventive stories, and I don't get why they just I guess it goes back to what you're saying.
I think the problem is it's really a personality issue. The difference between people who work in the entertainment industry and, say, current authors, to get an author into a writer's room, a TV writer's room, can sometimes be very problematic, because the entertainment business is a very social business, and you really have to know how to interact with people. And a lot of authors are very introverted, and they're not good at that. And so I think there's a big disconnect, and it's become, it used to be like, when you look at the 60s, the writers that were writing novels were also writing for television, and they were writing for radio, and they were writing for the theater. The days of somebody like the great writer Patty Chayefsky, he's no longer with us, and we didn't get Network, or we didn't get things like The Hospital, and even like Rod Serling was a playwright and wrote, before he wrote Twilight Zone, and a lot of the writers on the original Star Trek show were novelists and short story writers and playwrights. And I think now the thing is, if you're a TV writer, you're just a TV writer. And I'm not disparaging TV writers. I'm just saying that and I think a lot of the problem with our entertainment is the people that are, say, TV writers have only written television. And also they go from show to show to show. So a lot of the people that are currently writing Star Trek for Kurtzman don't have a particular affinity for science fiction. Oh. So, and if you look at a lot of especially Star Trek Discovery, a lot of it's generic relationship talk. that they could transpose from any generic relationship story. I mean, and there's not a lot of the 30th century. I can't believe I'm ripping on Star Trek Discovery, but I can't help it because it's such an awful example of science fiction. There's the 31st century as depicted in Star Trek Discovery is one of the worst and most unimaginative depictions of the future. It's like no one has ever read science fiction. No one has ever stopped for a moment. I mean, even if you watch a cursory YouTube video about what all of this, the chat GPT or whatever, or the new AI software programs and where we're going, would make you want to extrapolate 1,000 years in the future far more than we get now. And what's interesting is, like, those Dark Horse comics, the people writing those comics are trying to write the best, most innovative plots about the IPs that they're working with. And that's why when you look at a lot of comic book writers, you see people that are far more in tune with the ramifications of the IPs that they're working with, so you get a better handle on what would it mean if the aliens met the Predators, or what would it mean with certain experiments happening on xenomorphs or whatever, as opposed to somebody deciding to turn the Gorn, like they did in Strange New Worlds, into generic monsters that have a life cycle just like Alien, because they're completely uncreative and they have to rip something off.
Yeah.
Indeed. Oh wait, did I say that?
You know, Rob, one thing that I noted, you know, the Discovery is supposed to be 1,000 years in the future of the original Trek. So it's not even 1,000 years from us. It's 1,000 years from the 23rd century, right?
No, well, if they're in the 31st century,
right.
So I guess it would be 800 years.
Still somewhere in that neighborhood. But I was doing some when I heard about that, and then I was so disappointed in the depiction of that deep future. I went and said, what was happening on Earth 1,000 years ago? And the Crusades were about to start.
Yeah.
So think about the difference in our technological development in that period of time. How can we basically be just slightly ahead of where they were in the 23rd century by the time that they reached the 31st? It's unfathomable.
Well, no, and you know, the depiction when you have a 31st century character who identifies as non-binary,
right,
telling a gay character to use their pronouns. I'm like, right. We're now a spacefaring society that is intermarrying with alien species. Imagine the kind of sexuality that's developed over the last 1,000 years.
Right.
And yet, I mean, it's such a failure of imagination. And you look at this and you go, you know, if you really want to delve into that, why not do a story like Neelix, you know, and Enterprise had like 3 wives. What would it mean, like, if you're a transhuman? Like, everybody would be transhuman. Half of the human beings wouldn't even be human anymore. You'd be essentially walking machines. There would be humans that have lived for 500 years. You know, the idea of being Methuselah would become normalized. And I mean, you could have there could be a whole group of people that have rejected any kind of bio enhancements.
Yeah, or people who have become completely androgynous and can reproduce asexually. I mean, there's all sorts of cool ideas that you could explore.
Yeah. And what's so interesting is it is science fiction. It's allegorical.
Right.
And, you know, if you want to show a world where different kinds of sexualities or different kinds, like, if you, for instance, I'll tell you something, with the technology of the 31st century, even it would be really interesting to live as a woman for a couple of years. Like, what would that be like? And you could go in and have surgery. You could probably all the way down to the chromosomal DNA level and truly become a different sex, or even a different species, because they've done surgery to make you look like a Romulan or a Vulcan or whatever. And if you were going to go, and they show this on Star Trek all the time, if you're going to infiltrate a civilization, you're surgically altered to look like those people. Well, what if you could be surgically altered down to the DNA level? Yeah. You know, because you could use a transporter pattern buffer and recreate your original body when you're done and transport your personality back into that. There's so many interesting sci-fi ideas that have been left on the table because the people writing Star Trek don't even think that way.
Right. Chris, thank you so much for joining us
this
morning.
Guys.
Appreciate it. All right, so let's go ahead. Oh, by the way, Rob, I had a nitpick to discuss with you quickly. So I told you I watched RRR on now I saw it on Netflix. Is that where you saw it?
Yes.
Okay. Did you notice that none of the audio tracks were the original
yes,
audio track?
It's all dubbed. It's because the movie doesn't come from Bollywood; it comes from Tollywood.
So it should be the original audio track is Telugu.
Yeah,
but Netflix apparently doesn't have the rights to that. So even if you were watching it in, they give you the option for English or Hindi, it's still dubbed, and it still annoys me because it doesn't sync up correctly.
I'm with you 100%.
Oh man, okay.
100%.
So it wasn't just me being a nitpicker.
No,
so frustrating.
But I don't think that's a nitpick. I think that's like, if I'm watching a subtitled movie, I want to hear the original language.
Right. So here, not only do you have to watch it subtitled, but it's also dubbed in a language that
it's
you don't
also
understand. Yeah.
I mean, it's weird. It's like watching the original version of Mad Max when they first brought Mad Max to the States, and when it was first available on video in the 80s, the whole movie was dubbed. Right. Because they're like, no one's going to understand this Australian accent.
Right.
So it wasn't until I think the 90s that you were able to get a copy of Mad Max that wasn't dubbed. I mean, they dubbed a movie in English.
Right. All right. So, well, let's go ahead and add Pedro here to the stream. Pedro, you should be able to unmute now.
Hi.
What's up, dude?
You all right?
Yeah, I mean,
I heard you fell off a ladder.
I did. I was cleaning up the roof, and when I was getting back down, I just stepped wrong and pushed the ladder out from under me. And it was funny. What was terrible about that was Elizabeth and her mom were leaving it right as I was getting up there and like, don't fall off the ladder. And I did. Normally I don't do that, but it was a freak thing. But when I fell, I landed on my back, hit this concrete wall.
Yeah.
And it really hurt. And then it didn't hurt for like a week. It went away. But then I literally coughed wrong driving to the studio. And something like cracked in my back, and it just it's bad.
Yeah.
But I'm getting old.
My dad fell off the ladder about a year ago. And it was a bit of an eerie coincidence around that, but he was lucky. He was lucky.
Yeah, Mike Bodden fell off a ladder too, working on his house. He fell 8 feet onto concrete and shattered his scapula, and he's going to be recovering for a year. So that's why he hasn't been around these parts.
Well, hopefully he's getting better.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was just thinking, like, it's kind of like the beginning of a new year, and I was just wondering if there's anything, like, for once, I was going to ask you if there's anything you wanted to speak to me about.
Speak to you about?
Yeah.
Well, you mean about Quantum Leap or something?
Just about anything, like if you want to know more about my interests or anything like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that you, like, here's what I would like to ask you about. Okay. Because you've been in fan communities, and you've gone on
Twitter. I'm on your Twitter as well.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think of the state of modern fandom?
I think, okay, so personally, my feeling on this is, I wrote a comment. Yeah, I messaged you about this. I wrote a comment on one of your videos, actually the video that you did the observations on about that, and it auto deleted or something.
Yeah, I don't delete comments, so I don't know.
No, I know. I think YouTube somehow caught something and auto deleted it or something.
They might have.
Yeah. I didn't have any links in there though, which was weird. But my response to that was that I think that fandom has a right to be angry with the way Hollywood has treated, like, their precious IPs that people that have enjoyed. I think the feeling is there is an overbearingness. I'll totally agree. There is an overbearingness by fandom in regards to telling the studios what to do, but at the same time, I mean, there are YouTube channels based on doing that. So, but I think at the same time, I think that there's a feeling that everyone can do better than people in Hollywood. And I think that if Hollywood was proving itself to be better, proving itself to handle properties better, then people would have a bit more trust in the people behind those things. For me, it's a different story, because for me, I've been just kind of because I've always wanted to get into the industry. For me, it's more like, and because of my background in learning how to be in the industry, for me, it's more of a behind the scenes kind of annoyance rather than content. You know, it's not so much about wanting content to be a certain way. It's more the creative, the creativity in Hollywood and how things are done and stuff like that. So I get some of your annoyances as well about lack of physical media and creators should for instance be able to do what they like in a perfect world. That kind of thing. I get your kind of views on those. I totally support those views. Obviously, like I say, from my point of view, I see things a little bit differently from other people in terms of as someone who would like to get into the industry, I kind of see things more as a business point of view and creative point of view. And so I get a bit annoyed, I suppose, even though I agree with YouTubers sometimes about the state of fandom, the state of IPs, I also think they're beating a dead horse in terms of, I don't think they're looking at certain things going on. I don't think they're looking because they're not educated in film. They're not, you know, that's not their main thing in life. You know, that's not what they've kind of set out to do. They're artists. They worked in a band, they've done this, they've done that. That's what they're good at, you know. So yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I think one of the problems, the big problem with fandom is they don't know enough about how the business of Hollywood, the business of entertainment works.
Yeah.
They have opinions on the final product, but they don't understand what it entails to get there. And how, like, as I was saying, they'll hire somebody that has an Oscar or a Pulitzer or whatever awards because from a risk mitigation standpoint, and everyone's looking to mitigate their risk, that makes sense. Like, oh, okay, we're going to hire this person because, you know, Michael Chabon is an incredible novelist and he's run a Pulitzer.
Yeah.
But does that mean he's going to be a great Star Trek television writer?
No.
But they'll always hire that guy first. They're always going to hire that guy, even when you're successful in doing something. Like they'll still, you might have created, for instance, a great season of TV, and if you have an idea, you're a great effective showrunner. But if somebody who has an Oscar or a Pulitzer comes in and says, I would like to do this, they'll always pick that person over the person that just gave them a successful run of TV, because it's a way that the decision makers can mitigate their risk.
Well, also,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, also, you know, you've talked a lot about season 3 of Picard and how Terry Matalas has really turned around the franchise or the series and I think it's very difficult in the modern age for people to get that slow trust. If they see something going right, they need the results now.
I mean, all it takes, that's why I say, look at House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon is a great modern example. Everyone hated episode or season 8 of Game of Thrones. And by the way, they should have. Season 8 of Game of Thrones was a betrayal of how the show was set up. It was a betrayal of the characters. It was a betrayal of the writing of the first 4 seasons. And so there was a lot of people wondering, they were dubious about House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon won people over. Even the most jaded pundits had to agree that, okay, this was really well written and it was really well executed, and George R.R. Martin was involved, and they didn't even have novels to take from. They had more of a historical synopsis. And so it is possible to come on and do a show that changes things. And look, for me, I have a lot, like people like Louise Sparrow, and they have good points in the sense that, okay, so Picard season 3, you still have to deal with Picard seasons 1 and 2, which are god-awful examples of both Star Trek and science fiction. And they do really egregious things like that you can't run away from, that Terry Matalas had to deal with. But the way a lot of these things are dealt with is here's the thing about Picard season 3 that I love. Ultimately, at its core, there are a lot of familiar plot elements, but at its core, it's emotionally about the bonds of people. And it's very Star Trekian in that the relationships between what does it mean to be in a family? What does it mean to have that family change its dynamic? And it's about ultimately, yes, you get the space action adventure and all that, but at its core, it is about people. And there is some really stirring, genuine, deep, emotional moments between, I mean, some of the greatest moments of the show are literally people just talking to each other. And I miss that. And Star Trek has been bereft of that. I feel like everybody has written in what they think are Star Trek platitudes. Like they write these, Michael Burnham gives this speech and like, this is a great rah Star Trek speech. And I'm like, that's never what Star Trek was about. You know, it was not about that. And so Picard season 3 is a big step up. To a certain extent, it's maybe it's Star Trek's greatest hits or whatever. There's a lot of elements, but ultimately, if you look at what the season overall is about, it's about the people, it's about the characters, and it's about who and what we are as human beings. And that's always been the core value of what Star Trek is. And unfortunately, we've been getting Star Trek, which is gobbledygook. The plots don't make sense. The characters are out of character. Patrick Stewart's basically playing himself. And in Star Trek Picard season 3, if nothing else, Patrick Stewart is finally playing Jean-Luc Picard again. And I think we as fans, we have to do better. We can bitch and moan on the internet and complain. But the thing is, when you do get something that comes along like House of the Dragon, or in my case, I think Picard season 3 is excellent. Unless we are adult enough to recognize, oh, that's good. House of the Dragon is good. And if we can't recognize that, then we lose all credibility. You know, and like when I got in my little fight with Doomcock this week or whatever, going, bro, all I'm asking you is why don't you watch this show? And he wants to reject it and say, oh, Kurtzman Trek is, look, Alex Kurtzman doesn't even like Star Trek. From a business decision, Secret Hideout running the Star Trek franchise is very lucrative. They're making money from it. I don't begrudge anybody who makes money. I think the problem is they could make a lot more money if their Star Trek was better. And what I'm hoping is that Star Trek Picard season 3, if it gets viewership, and unfortunately it's been hobbled by Star Trek Picard seasons 1 and 2, the reason I'm going so hard on it is because if it does do well, they'll look at that, the bean counters will be like, you know what, this Picard season 3 had more viewership and made more money for us than all the previous seasons of modern Trek. What is it about this Star Trek that isn't these? And the difference is that Terry Matalas was given free reign to run it. So my desire to see Picard season 3 to be successful comes from the fact that I think somebody like Terry Matalas, who wants to do Star Trek, who loves Star Trek, has an affinity for Star Trek, I would like to see somebody like Terry Matalas running the show because he cares. He loves Star Trek. And we have not had that. I mean, Kirsten Beyer loves Star Trek, but she's not really a TV person. She's done the best she can, but even she's been marginalized. You need somebody that has credibility in television, that loves Star Trek, that can take it over and give us the kind of thing. And that's true of any of these IPs. And I want to see that happen. And the thing is, if we bitch and moan and complain all the time, which we should, I think we should, we still have to be able to, when good creators come and they do something that's great, like in my mind, Star Trek Picard seasons 1 and 2 don't exist. There are things that you touch on, the characters touch on, and people might, they can't do it because of the way the deals are set up. I would have called Star Trek Picard season 3, Star Trek The Next Generation Requiem. That's what I would have called it. It's unfortunate that it's Picard season 3, because if they renamed it, you've got first of all, how can a Star Trek fan not be excited about the entire Next Generation cast coming back? And by the way, they're all great. I don't think their acting has ever been better. But the thing is, I don't have to convince anybody of that because it starts February 16th and people can make up their own mind. Right. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, man, I've gone hard on this. I've opened myself up. If I had a litmus test last week, I saw somebody way above my pay grade came back and told me what they thought. That has no connection to the current people that run Star Trek, but is just a fan. Came back, and somebody who would know, and was blown away by Star Trek Picard season 3. And I was like, finally somebody who I respect, that's way above my pay grade. I'm not wrong. So
Pedro, thank you so much for joining us this morning. All right, we have Roger Robertson coming up next. Let me go ahead and add you to the stream here. And Roger, you should, I added Tom Jr. Jackson by mistake. I'm sorry. I think I skipped ahead.
I think it's me.
No, we can hear Roger.
Oh, you can hear Roger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, buddy?
I added Tom by mistake. Let me go ahead and fix that. It's my bad. Here we go. I added the wrong person.
Right. Tom can join in whenever.
There we go. There you are, Roger. Welcome.
Hey, Rob, I'm glad to hear you back is doing better.
Yes, it's doing better. It's still not 100%, but man, it's funny. I guess I've never really had any aches and pains in my life. I've been very lucky. So the two things that I've noticed is it takes me a lot longer to recover from things, and my eyesight.
Yes, well, I'm a little bit more advanced than you are, Rob, and I tell you, I stay away from ladders whenever I can. If you find a neighborhood kid around there that they can help you with that sort of stuff.
Well, I've always been like the guy, kind of do-it-yourself guy, and I still ski, and I'm like, maybe I should stay away from all that stuff. I don't know.
Ladders, though. That's always bad news.
I like ladders. I still want to climb trees.
Now, since you weren't there the other day, I do have to ask. I was curious if you ever took any steps to hide your stream, or were you more like Ray and just wanted to announce your presence with authority?
You mean in terms of I don't really quite do I want to?
What started? John said he used to squat down on his knees whenever he used to urinate. So is that
how it started?
His in-laws would not hear him taking a stream.
Oh, that's how this all began.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you know what? That was the thing. I can understand that. I think every guy, depending on how you are, like I would never want to go take a monster dump at a girlfriend's house or you don't want to do that. You
got strategies on that, but
I would.
Ray's take was that he wanted to announce his presence. He wanted everyone to know that he is very healthy and had a very lively stream.
Well, I thought when you said stream, I thought you meant like a YouTube stream. No, I have no problem. It never really occurred to me again until you're getting older. Luckily my streams are still strong and robust. But
it was hilarious.
That was so funny. And I will say something that it never occurred to me though, because you always hear about men get older, their prostates getting large, they have to get up in the middle of the night and pee multiple times. Yeah. But until I saw Chris, she was laughing. It never occurred to me, do women have that same problem? Aaron talks about her small bladder.
Yeah.
But I don't know, when you get older, women, I guess, don't have prostates to enlarge. So
Ray did ask if women had that issue as well, and Chris was very non-committal about the whole subject.
All I know is that Stubble sent me that video on Twitter. I wish I was there. I don't think in my adult life I have laughed as hard as I've laughed certain times being on the John Campea show.
Yeah.
To the point where I have literally lost control of my faculties. I'm laughing so hard. Yeah. To the point where tears are streaming down my face. And when you're that far gone, it's hard to get back in control. It is I really have to bite down and concentrate. Otherwise I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. I won't be able to deal.
Yeah. Well, see, one thing is, I really enjoyed the show Wednesday. I thought that it's just really is really remarkable about how much detail that they took. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been so many people like going over the cello playing in the show and that dance. There's like people like figure skaters using that dance in their routines now.
I know, it's hilarious, which I love.
I realized, I found out a friend of mine that I went to college with was on the musical team on that. I don't know, Michael Ryan. Is that someone that you've ever heard of?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Anyway, he was on the musical team, and I just kind of sent him a message that they just killed it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they try hard. Everyone's looking for that kind of authenticity. And Jenna, she tried. It was funny because she talked about. I started taking. She was doing an interview about the dance, and she said she didn't really practice it. She didn't work for a choreographer, but she did go and watch a lot of YouTube videos, like with Susie Sue and a lot of goth performers. And I thought it was great, but I think she's the kind of actress that wants to make sure that her performances come off as authentic, which I completely admire.
She took cello lessons just so she could recreate the proper finger movements.
Yeah, and I think that's important because that was a close-up shot. They're coming around her when she's playing the cello, and I think people that really love the craft of acting, a lot of them do take the time to do those kinds of things because they do. Again, we talked about nitpicking earlier, but there's a lot of people out in the audience that know the difference, guitar playing, drumming, all kinds of things. And if it doesn't look right, it shatters the verisimilitude.
I know. Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, Rob, I'll go ahead and get off of here, but it's good talking to you. And
always a pleasure to see you, sir.
See you next time.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much, Roger. I'll go ahead and move you out of the screen here. Rob, we have a couple of super chats. Want to make sure I don't forget about those.
Oh, let's fire those in.
We have Mexican Iron Man. He says,
Mike, the man, the myth, legend.
$4.99. It said, listening in while driving from San Bernardino to Santa Monica. When your back is better, I'm coming to take you to dinner this month. Love you.
Oh my God. I can't wait to meet Mike. Mike, of course, sent me one of my favorite things this year. He actually had a die-cast Iron Man hot toy repainted into Mexican Iron Man, and he comes with a sombrero, and it's amazing.
It is amazing. It was debuted in Que Pasa PGS.
It was. I put on Que Pasa PGS. That was the first time I showed it, and I saved it for that. And then
we also have 10 euros from. I apologize if I don't pronounce your name correctly. Gotts Raymond. As more and more movies from the last century get a 4K restoration, any thoughts on the difference in movie making before and after digital became a thing? And then big shout out to Jack Cardiff. What a DOP.
Oh my God, Jack Cardiff was an amazing DOP. Or as we say in America, just DP. It's director. It's funny, we say DP, and in the porn world that means something else, but here it's director of photography,
right? And
they just put the O outside of the United States in DOP. But yeah, well, the funny thing about we really only had the digital world for the last 20 years the way it is now, whereas photography had 100 years of refinement. The thing about photography is there's a lot less leeway. There was a lot less leeway back in the day. You really had to know, the great cinematographers really had to understand on how light was literally interacting with something physical, film, negative. So there's an actual piece of negative with particles on it that would react to the light. So you really had to know your stuff, as opposed to the digital world, especially the high resolution digital world. There's more latitude with the computer technology we have to change things around. But I do think that both are true. There are people like Roger Deakins, who has done some amazing work with digital. Ryan Johnson's DP. Shane, is it Shane? I forget his name, but he's somebody. There's some great cinematographers that are really delving into the science of digital.
Yeah.
And of course, it was interesting when like Lars von Trier and some of the people over there in Denmark started the Dogma 95 movement, and how back then digital cameras didn't have nearly the resolution, but they believed in shooting with natural light to create more of that verisimilitude, how it's sort of changed. But to me, cinema has always been about taking modern technology and adding to the process. Cinema has always evolved. Like in the first 25 years, they couldn't even decide on what was the frame rate. You know, was it going to be 18 frames a second, 24 frames a second? We didn't get sound until almost 30 years into cinema. And to me, it's just a natural evolution of where it's come. So, I mean, I think in the digital, it's just different technology. We grew up conditioned to look at film with its grain patterns and the way it looked. I mean, the way different. Look at movies in the 70s in terms of their color palettes. The film stocks in the 70s were slower when they had like Kodak Vision stocks in the 90s. The look of cinema has changed drastically from the 1970s to the 2000s.
Yeah.
And I love it all. You know, it's funny when I like Sophie, Elizabeth's youngest daughter, Elizabeth and I were watching something from the 80s, and she walked in and she could tell immediately that it was an old movie. It wasn't black and white, simply because of the way color looked.
Right.
Because you couldn't get color
Mm-hmm.
the way you can now.
Yeah. All right. We can get some color for language from our good friend Tom Jr. Jackson. So let's go ahead and add Tom to the stream here. Welcome, Tom. You should be able to unmute.
What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. Yes, it is.
Like my background?
I do like your background. That's quite amusing. And
it's the Cavern Club. It's the wall from the Cavern Club where all the bands signed up, and right behind me is the Beatles.
Yeah, look at that. Uh-oh. Tom just hit his controls. He'll come back. Tom will come back.
Did we lose Tom?
We lost Tom. I think when he leaned over, he either fell out of his chair and knocked
ground control to Major Tom.
Yeah, come on, Major Tom. 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, let me.
Or as Brock Peters said in Star Trek 6, get him back, get him back.
Let me pause the clock here. See if we can get him back. If not, I might. It looks like Tom stepped out altogether from the chat. So we're gonna go ahead and let's jump to Doug Salier, and then we will bring in Tom after that. So Doug, you should be able to jump in now, and you should be able to unmute.
Bro, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
welcome,
sir.
Doug.
We can hear you.
Okay. First off, I want to brag about my wife because she got me this Batmobile.
Look at that.
The 1966, of course, Batmobile.
Yeah.
From the Bradford Exchange, and not only that, I'm going to get more. Apparently, it's a whole set. It's a collection that comes out, once a month. The next one is, I believe, the Joker car, and then the Kitty car, and then it comes with a set, a stand that I can put them all. The funniest thing is the way it looked to my wife. It looked like it was smaller, and you got them all at once. But now she found out that this $100 Christmas present ended up to be a $400 Christmas present.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to give it up for your wife. Give it up for golf clap for your wife.
Yeah. It's pretty darn amazing. I look at it like every day, and I just love it because it's my favorite Batmobile. It's yeah, I can't believe it. It's one of the best Christmas presents I think I've gotten.
It's amazing. So, well, kudos to your wife.
Yeah, it's 895, but there's going to be a lot of them because it's a 95 casting time, so 95 days casting. So there'll be a lot of them, but this one's special to me. So
it's always nice when you have a significant other who's an imagination connoisseur enabler.
Yes.
We need more of them in the world.
Yeah, she doesn't totally understand it, but she knows I love it. So
yeah, she supports it.
Yeah.
I mean, Elizabeth last night, you know, because I when I don't go to work, it's like, what am I doing? And I started building a model of this Andromeda, and she's like, "You are not bringing that into the kitchen." I'm like, "I've always built models in the kitchen. We have a table I can do it on. What are you talking about?" Of course I am.
Yeah, my wife got me also the Lego current Batmobile, which has over 1,300 pieces. And
yeah, you gotta love that.
And now she's like, "I don't know where you're going to build it." I said, "Well, it's going to be on the table."
Yeah,
that's where it's going to be. Right?
You'll do it in a day. You'll bang it out.
Yeah. No, I'm not worried about that. Just quickly, since you're talking about fandom, I think that was the problem with She-Hulk. She-Hulk was going after the fandom, and I don't think that's successful when you try to do that.
Well, you know what though? It depends who you are. Like Kevin Smith can go after fandom, like in something like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and we can all laugh knowingly because we know that Kevin Smith is one of us and what he's doing is interesting. But the problem is when the way they went after fandom in She-Hulk, it was disdainful. I mean, with Kevin Smith, he's like, you know, screw those kids or whatever, but at the same time, we know because he's engaging with them. And I think on She-Hulk, it came off as really disingenuous and bitchy. And what I find so strange is like here's when I was growing up, there was nobody who acknowledged fans. You know, the diehard fans, we went to all these things, but there was no acknowledgement that they even and this is just a theory, but you know, starting in the 80s, we had movies like Revenge of the Nerds. And then we had like William Shatner in 86 doing his Get a Life sketch on SNL, which was incredibly hilarious. But the thing was, it was so fringe, and now we all won. Fandom won. You know, that's one of the things I don't understand is that we got everything we ever wanted, to the point where our favorite IPs have been co-opted and taken over by corporations that have no understanding of them. And I get a corporation when they buy an asset, when you're buying a storytelling IP, an IP that exists to tell a story. When a corporation buys it, a corporation has no idea what to do with it. If a corporation buys a manufacturing facility, they understand. They can look at a spreadsheet and go, okay, we know this is the capacity. This is how many people have to work there. And they can figure out all the analytics behind making that work and make it profitable. Disney buys Star Wars, and they don't know the first thing about how do you make Star Wars profitable? How do you even make new Star Wars that people like? And then they're like, well, we don't really know. Then they have to go hire people that they don't really understand. So they look at them on a spreadsheet and go, well, this person seems like they've done this. Yeah, but are they the best person to make Star Wars? Well, it doesn't matter. Generically, their bona fides are right there, and we're going to hire that person. And then you end up, you know, you have people like Chris Chibnall writing Doctor Who, and everyone says, well, I'm a Star Wars fan. It's like, J.J. Abrams, you made The Rise of Skywalker. Please explain that to me. Explain that to anyone. Explain that to George Lucas. You know, and you look at that, and the proof's in the pudding, and we as fans are like, okay, my friends and I drunk at a bar at 2 a.m. when we're getting in our last Boilermaker in Chicago, when the temperatures dropped to 32 degrees below zero, we could come up with a better Star Wars movie than The Rise of Skywalker. And yet Rise of Skywalker exists. So I understand the outrage that fandom has. And it's,
oh, sorry. It's just like I was rereading the comic book and the original, and she tells Bruce says that he's that what she's doing is dangerous, and she says, "Well, I'm a criminal attorney. What's more dangerous than that?" In the She-Hulk show, she says, "Well, I'm a woman, so this is dangerous." That's the difference, right?
No, you're absolutely right. And you know, the head writer on She-Hulk, and this is the problem. They want to talk about modern television. It's everyone. The reason that we're bitching is because it's a difference between allegory. Great stories are usually allegorical. Nowadays, people want to use storytelling, modern storytelling, as a soapbox. And if you're going to preach to your audience, you've lost your audience. And look, lots of stories are full of social justice. If you don't recognize the fact that To Kill a Mockingbird is a story about social justice, because it is, but it's also a compelling story with compelling characters when you watch the situation as it unfolds as a compassionate human being, even if you can understand what that story is trying to tell you. But the pandering of so many of the stories that we're getting today, like you said, well, I am a woman, so I understand, as opposed to I'm a criminal defense attorney. That's a very different thing. And in a story, the clever answer is I'm a criminal defense attorney. The non-clever answer is to make it about your gender. And that's what we live in now. And it's incredibly frustrating. And it's just bad storytelling. And what you do by the inference of that, is what you've done is you've said that all women are weak and all men by definition have been victimizing you. But when you say criminal defense attorney, you make it about the profession itself and the fact that criminal defense attorneys of all genders or identities or whatever deal with a criminal element in the same way. But by saying woman, and that's the difference, and that's why people get mad. And it's also bad storytelling. Because any criminal defense attorney, regardless of who they are, have to deal with the criminal element. And that was the whole point in the comics. So you're absolutely right.
Thank you so much, Doug. Great to see you.
Good to see you, man. And tell your wife, give her a kiss for me and say she's an imagination connoisseur enabler. Tell her I said so.
Now, Rob, didn't you get a 12-inch scale Batmobile, of the same Batmobile?
6 scale. Yes, I did.
Scale, sorry.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And I waited 4 years to get it. It's in John Campia's office, and my Burt Ward and Adam West Hot Toys are sitting in it. It's one of the greatest things I've ever owned.
Okay, so Tom Jr. Jackson is back. I want to make sure we get another super chat in here before I forget. From Science Beat, £5. 2022's highlight was The Sandman, as I never thought that series would ever be made in my lifetime.
Me neither. It's my favorite comic book of all time. And I'll tell you something, it was an incredibly faithful adaptation to the comic. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and especially after I had heard about some other proposals to bring Sandman to life, and they were horrendous.
Oh God, horrendous. I've read scripts, they didn't get it. And Neil Gaiman being involved.
Right.
And you know, Sandman's not everybody's thing. The comic was not everybody's thing, but I thought they did an amazing job. And it's my favorite comic of all time.
Yeah, I think there was one in which Morpheus was a bartender. Did you ever read that script where he was a bartender? And it was gonna be done like in a anthology series type of thing where somebody came to his bar to drink, and then it's kind of like a little Twilight Zone kind of thing.
Oh God, no!
It sounded horrendous.
God awful. I mean, what people don't realize too, if they haven't read the comic, is this story is also Morpheus' story. It seems like it's an anthology, but it's where it goes is amazing, and I hope they do. I mean, they did 18 issues of the comic, or wait, 19 issues of the comic with Dream of a Thousand. No, 19 is Midsummer Night's Dream. So they did 18 issues of the comic. It's only 75 issues. Right. So if they do another 18, because we're gonna get probably, I think they might skip Facade, which comes after Midsummer Night's Dream, and go right into a Season of Mists, but they might not. So that
is
means
the one with the female metamorpho, right?
Yeah, and I'm thinking that I don't know how they do that, because that's so steeped in DC mythology. Like, how do you explain? Or they could do a variation on that theme. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, they could.
Yeah. But I mean, they've already shown, by doing Constantine the way they did, and some of the other ways that they've adapted it, it's kind of its own separate thing. So you don't have to worry about those DC crossovers necessarily. So.
No, but they did do all the issues.
They did.
They didn't, and which I thought was, I mean, even the Lyta Hall stuff, I'm like, are they going to do that?
Right.
And they did it, and I was really surprised, and they did it really effectively.
Right. No, I loved it. All right, Tom is back. Let me go ahead and add Tom in here. And Tom, you should be able to unmute now. Hopefully we won't have technical challenges now. Well,
Tom's frozen.
Tom is somewhat frozen.
Sorry about.
Oh no, we can hear you. Okay, you're back.
It's just a little broken up, Tom. I don't know if maybe turning off the video would help.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So sorry about that. I was having a little bit of issue there.
We got you now. What's up? What's up, Goof Emeritus?
Hi. I've been doing good. I've been watching my Alfred Hitchcock collection.
Nice.
I got the Ultimate Collection, so that's all the movies, then 10 episodes of the
show
Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Yep.
And then the hour. Yeah. I really liked Rope.
Rope's good.
Have you ever seen that movie?
Oh yeah.
That's a great movie.
It is good. I mean, I'm a huge Hitchcock fan, and that was later. That's latter Hitchcock.
No, that's early. Rope is early. Yeah.
Is it?
Rope is about 40, maybe 50. Yeah, about in the 40s.
I was thinking like 39. I mean, it's after he left England, though.
Right.
He came to America.
Right, and it was the first film he did with Jimmy Stewart.
Right, exactly. Because I like early Hitchcock, like 39 Steps and The Lady Vanishes and all that stuff. Which is, I mean, I love The Lady Vanishes is one of my favorite. I don't just think it's a great Hitchcock movie; it's just a great movie. He's awesome.
Because I'm a huge fan of North by Northwest. I just like that film. I think it's a great film. But I always like that Hitchcock will do North by Northwest. They go to Mount Rushmore or Sabotage. They go to Statue of Liberty. And I liked Sabotage as well. And that's with Norman Lloyd, who I think he lived to be 106.
I know. Who was amazing.
That's someone who I'd love to see a documentary made on.
Somebody probably will. I'm sure somebody will.
Yeah, because he worked with everyone.
Yeah, no, totally.
And then I recently got Baron Munchausen.
The 4K.
I got the Blu-ray from Criterion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then I finally watched Black Adam.
Yep.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay. It wasn't the best. I don't know. It's like some of the characters are a bit confusing. I'd never heard of Cyclone. I didn't know who that was. I've never heard of that character before. And it just seemed a bit uneven, like as if it feels like parts of that movie were taken out.
Yeah, I didn't think it's funny because now there's a lot of talk about Black Adam, and if Black Adam was better, we talk about this on the John Campea show a lot. It was better than If it was a better movie and made more money, things might be different.
Right. I mean, but that ending with the Superman thing, I was like, oh yeah, I could see where this is going with that, and I'd be excited for that. But then it's like, okay, they did that. I want to see what else they can do now.
Right. Well, that's why I think the James Gunn rebooting the DCEU, and they have a plan from the beginning. That's the way to go. I love that idea. Let's see more of that.
Also, by the way, can you private message me your address? I want to send you something.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've been trying to message you and get a hold of you so I could do that. So I wanted to send you something, and I know you've been busy.
No, I'll be happy to do that.
Yeah, I just did a video for my channel that should be up on Monday.
Where can people find your channel?
It's here on YouTube. You can look up by Tom Jr. Jackson. Actually, look up Tom Jr. Jackson. All my videos will show up under that. It's just very much easier to do it that way. Yeah, I've been working a lot on some videos, and I've been doing some writing for future videos and whatnot. So I've been keeping busy.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I mean, I heard about your fall. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, the fall was last week. Actually, it was during the vacation, and then I thought I was fine, and literally, it was so weird. I just coughed, and I could feel something in the back left of my back. I heard something crack when I coughed, and I could barely breathe. It was so excruciatingly painful. And this week it had been painful, and I woke up and I went to the doctor
last week.
But that's, you're old.
RM did.
I mean, I'm old, so I'm gonna shit's gonna happen. At least everything else works. You know what I'm saying? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right. Just saying.
Watch party. I watched that. RM. I was in the moderating of the PGS. She did a Limitless.
I know. I've been looking at it.
That final episode. My God.
I really like the show, and those after parties or the watch parties are good.
Yeah. Yeah, we all had a good time.
I think
it was fun.
Been doing she's got some really interesting stuff coming up with other PGS members that I'm really excited about. Between what she's doing and what Roberto's doing with Que Pasa PGS, it's pretty cool. It's finally becoming a network.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I like, but now I have to do some accounting because I owe everybody money. Got to look at their analytics, see what they make. That's the great thing. So I think the next I owe some RRR some money, which will be good. RRR for showing RRR. Who knew that would have a movie named after her? And she does.
Well, from what I hear is that Roberto wants to start a petition to get the sequel called
I'd watch that too. And they should. Now that he's signed with an American, I think he signed with CAA, so he absolutely should make that movie. Damn it.
Yeah.
That was the chat in the Zoom chat. We've been joking about that. So we'll do the sequel will be called MMM.
Yeah.
So hey Tom, it was great to see you, friend. I'm sorry that you had some technical difficulties earlier there.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Talk to you
Good
later.
to see you, man.
Good to see you.
I'll see you tonight, I guess, at 9. We'll be back.
We'll be back. All right. Next coming up is Esmel Taylor. Let me go ahead and add you to the chat here.
The greatest cookie maker.
The cookie maker extraordinaire. Esmel, you there? You should be able to unmute now.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep. What's up, dude? Good to see you.
How you doing? Yep.
How's it going?
All right. Good.
How's your mom?
She's great. She's getting on my nerves, but she's great.
We'll give her my best.
Yep, that's what moms do though. So
It's
gotta
true.
love her for that.
They're designed for that.
Yeah. I messaged you. I didn't know if you got it on Twitter. But we have to meet up with you because I'm gonna be making something pretty soon. I want you to take it to John and everybody.
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
Over there. But as far as that goes, so I was rewatching In the Darkness the other day.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
No. You see, it's like I like the action in it because I'm not a big fan of the old Star Trek.
Right, sure.
Laser shooting all slow and stuff. I like how they did, But what I realized watching it is that the problem with it is that it's Chris Pine is not being he's not being Jim Kirk. He's being William Shatner being Jim Kirk.
Yes.
And that's the problem. It's like you're trying to emulate someone else's work instead of making it your own thing. And that's what I really don't like about it. And it's like all the characters are doing that except for Uhura.
Right. She's doing something because she's doing something different because she's in a relationship with Spock, which is a fundamental change in her character. And Zoe Saldana's a great actress.
Yeah. And so hers is the only one that really feels authentic to me. Everybody else feels like they're acting like somebody else acting that part.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I totally agree.
And that's where I keep watching. I'm like, yeah, that's a problem.
I mean, I have a real problem with certain plot points in that movie. Like the biggest problem is you don't know who Khan is. Like, when he says his name is Khan in the context of that movie, all the characters are standing around going, "Who? I don't know." In the original, when Khan is introduced in Space Seed, Kirk and the Enterprise and the crew find him floating in space in a ship that they understand. They track back historically, like, and you understand who he is. It's explained, and in Into Darkness, no one knows anything about Khan.
Yeah, and honestly, I think they could have did that movie without even putting him in it, and it would have been a better movie.
I agree. And it's such a weird, like, why are his people in torpedoes? It's so bizarre. I mean, there's and the transporter, you can beam from your ship to the Klingon homeworld. If that's the case, why does anybody need
a ship?
Ships? And also, if you look at that movie, Peter Weller has all these starship models in his office, and one of them is the big secret dreadnought model, the Vengeance. And it's like, does anybody ever
notice that?
Oh yeah, it's there. Does anybody go, yo man, what is that starship there? that big formidable, all black starship. It looks like looks bad. It looks like it's an enemy vessel. Yeah, and yet that's the one he's building in secret around Jupiter
with all that empty space.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
I remember I like hearing you talk about how the newer Star Trek has all the empty voids in the ships.
They don't understand.
Which is just unrealistic.
It's totally when you see the turbo lifts in Discovery, and there's all like this vast empty space, and it looks like they're on amusement park tracks, and you're wondering. This is another thing. I'm looking at this. Did anybody on the show stop and think, if you're in a spacefaring vessel, unless you're on a Star Wars movie, there's not a lot of empty space. You've only got. And I don't think anybody like on Discovery knows who their ranks are. Like I read one interview where one of the actors says, "I don't know my rank. Like I don't know how do I like am I third in command?" I don't think the writers of the show know, and I don't think they understand what the internal like. If you were to look at also, I think it's in Star Trek 09, where in Star Trek 09, the hangar deck is above the bridge. Because you've got the way in the Kelvin in the beginning of Star Trek 09, the hangar deck where they're going to get on the shuttlecraft is above the bridge, but they're like rappelling down, or they're going to engineering or something, and they're going down when they should be going up because they don't understand the layout of the ships.
Yeah,
and it's like when I was 8 years old, I knew the layout of the Enterprise because I had the blueprints.
Well, that's J.J. Abrams, though. He don't understand nothing that he does.
No, he really doesn't. He has a villain in Star Trek 09 that's gone back in time, who never stops and thinks to himself, wow, I've gone back like 90 years back in time. I have all this future technology. I should go back to the Klingon homeworld, the planet that's been destroyed that I'm mad about, warn them, take all this cool future technology, and make sure that the Romulans are the force in the 23rd century. But he doesn't do that. He's a dumb villain. He never saw the Romulan equivalent of Back to the Future. He didn't understand what he could do. Those movies are monumentally dunderheaded. Now, I understand the action. Some of it's cool and all that, but Peter Weller's wearing Admiral Kirk's uniform. I hate all that shit. But, you know, there's cool stuff in it. And I like Michael Giacchino's score. Why is the Enterprise underwater? Don't know. But I don't mean to complain. The only thing I bitch and moan and complain about Star Trek and Star Wars. So, but what can I say? Did Roberto disappear? Oh, you're back.
I don't know what happened.
We cannot hear you.
Sorry, I don't know what happened to, because he still had a few more minutes left, or he had about a minute left, and I don't know.
Ismail's, yeah, he's still there trying to talk.
Ismail, let me see if I can bring him back in, because something happened where it froze up or something.
Yeah, man, ranting about Star Trek, and I had to get cut off. Come on, dude.
But I didn't take him off the screen, so I don't know.
Oh, he's back. We can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, got cut off. What I was going to say is because J.J. Abrams don't understand that, and that's why in Star Wars he's TIE fighters or going into light speed.
Yeah.
When were they able to do that? I thought they weren't equipped with light speed jump, because that defeats the purpose of the first movie. I mean, the second movie with that slow speed chase. They could have just jumped to the TIE fighters, jumped ahead of the ships, and shot them all up. But they couldn't even go that far from their Star Destroyer. So
God bless you, sir. Yeah. Well, here's my problem. This is something that fandom doesn't talk about enough. Is that these universes, the reason we become fans is because all of the stuff in the universe, and Star Wars maybe is the most of all. They've got all of this incredible technology. And while they haven't defined hyperspace, you know, like we know that X-Wings can go to light speed because we saw X-Wings go to light speed, at least in Empire Strikes Back, when Luke is able to take an X-Wing to Dagobah. Yeah. And I would say even then that's too far. Like X-Wing snub fighters shouldn't be able to go to light speed, but they can. It's fine. By Return of the Jedi, A-Wings can go to light speed. But all of that stuff is what we love. And when people just willy-nilly change the parameters, like of J.J. Abrams basically came in and said the transporter doesn't matter. He destroyed the transporter in Star Trek 09 and continued to destroy it into darkness. The transporter is a line of sight device that was originally created from a production standpoint. So there was a reason they didn't have to take the shuttlecraft down to the planet, a planet. They could beam down. It was a very elegant workaround from how do you get from the ship to the planet. Awesome. Adds to the imagination of the show. But the transporter worked because it had rules. You know, like in a very early episode, The Enemy Within, when Kirk is split into two, the transporter, there's a storm. It doesn't work right. So Sulu is stranded on this planet in the middle of a blizzard, dying of frostbite. And J.J. Abrams came along and said, nope, you can beam on from a planet. You can beam onto a ship traveling at light speed, which is completely ridiculous and destroys any verisimilitude of the transporter. And yet the reason why I hate those movies so much is like, look, the cool thing about the transporter is it has rules. You can't just beam across planets unless you're the alien race that Gary Seven, even though they delved into that in Discovery. It's a device, it's a tool, just like you can't hyperspace skip like they do at the beginning of Rise of Skywalker. You can't go through hyperspace into a gravity well of a planet. It would tear your ship apart, or it might destroy the planet. I mean, and people say, well, Rob, how do you know that? Well, that's the whole point, is that, you know, it has to have rules. Otherwise, there's no credibility there. Otherwise, it's magic. And it becomes not believable. I could rant about this stuff forever. Can you tell?
Esmel, thank you so much for joining us today. Sorry, your image seems to have
What are we gonna do though, man? I mean, we have these creators, and the thing is, I think every IP, here's what should happen. Every IP should have an expert executive that works at the studio that is like, and I don't know where you find these people, like uber Star Wars nerd that also is Warner Brothers had a guy like this there for a while, but that would come on and go, look, this sucks because of this. You know, one of the great things about Andor was it extrapolated what is it brought reality back to the Star Wars universe. It said, okay, if this stuff is going on, if A, B, and C are true, then D, E, and F must also be true. And I think that one of the great things that Tony Gilroy did, he didn't have to be a great Star Wars fan, but he can sit there and go, all right, Star Wars depicts a rebellion. What is a rebellion? Let's look into Earth history to tell us how do rebellions work, and then extrapolate that into whether it's the French Resistance or whatever. So Andor had an authenticity that J.J. Abrams, beginning with Force Awakens, shattered, destroyed. And I think a lot of people who really responded, I know I did, to Andor was because it felt real. Whereas the first Star Wars, and I can tell you right away, even though there's sound in space, when I watched the first Star Wars as a 10-year-old in 1977, it felt very real. Yeah, I overlooked the fact that some of the space travel things were not, but when you got down to Tatooine, it was an alien environment that looked real, and you believed it, and that was part of the appeal of Star Wars. And a filmmaker like J.J. Abrams is not interested. He showed in Star Trek. He's not interested in adding reality to his sci-fi universes. And that, for fans, is very frustrating. Just like Doctor Who. Chris Chibnall changing the origins of the Doctor that we'd heard about for 60 years. Like, first of all, who are you to do that? And second of all, what you did makes no sense. That's why people get mad.
Yes, Mel, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry that your video seems to have not been working there at the last part, but I appreciate you joining us this morning. So, or actually this afternoon now. So, let me see as well. So how did he? Let's see. Add pin. Oh no, I see. I think I had the wrong person on here. Who's pinned on the screen? I'm sorry, Rob. I'm having a little bit of technical challenges here.
Well, it's morning. Okay. I guess I'll dock your pay. Oh wait.
Hey, by the way, speaking of, I guess not of pay, but of promoting the Burnettwork, I found doing some cleanup over the holidays. I found these stickers that I had made. I think I made them early in the pandemic. I don't know if you remember, Rob. They look like this.
Oh yeah, those are awesome.
I found them, and I have like 45 of them. And so I'm going to put together a little form and share it with the community. If anybody wants me to mail you one of these, just fill out that little form and I'll send you one. It's an Imagination Connoisseur sticker.
Send me that design and we'll make a t-shirt.
Yeah, I have to find it. I don't know what I did with my original design, but this is the size of the sticker here. And
that's cool.
It's Imagination Connoisseur, and in the middle, it's supposed to be like the singularity or something, you know, the post singularity,
which is great. I love it.
Yeah, so I'll put out a form on the chat, and if people
want to get an embroidered patch and buy a jean jacket,
yeah, we should
get ready. I want to get a jean jacket and start putting patches. And somebody gave me this. Somebody gave me a was it a pin that's. It's Nicole Kidman sitting in an AMC theater.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And it made me want to have, because, you know, when you're in the 80s, I had a very cool jean jacket that I would wear that I would have buttons on and
I'm thinking of a big Sons of Anarchy size patch on the back.
Yeah.
We could be like a motorcycle gang of geeks.
Dude, that is it, man. That's what we gotta do. We gotta commission. I gotta call somebody. I gotta call like Marilyn Vance.
Yeah.
Who starts, you know, the Designing Hollywood podcast and say, yo, Marilyn, you need to, what I want you to do is the Ferris Bueller's jacket, that like two-toned jacket that he wears in the movie, because I always tell her I want that jacket. You got to do that jacket, and we'll put the Imagination Connoisseur on the back, but she'll have to like build it for us.
Awesome. Well, we better start copywriting the term, Rob, before somebody else.
I know. I don't know if you can. Well, we should. By the way, I do want to mention a new Designing Hollywood drop last night. Had a great in-studio conversation with Marina Toybina, who it was really interesting. She did like the Masked Singer, but she also designed the American. I never talked to somebody. She designed the American tour of this year, the 2022, for My Chemical Romance. Oh, wow. And she tells this great story about how she was a huge My Chemical Romance fan.
Wow.
You know, and then when she found out that they were going back on tour, like she told her agents, I gotta do this, whatever it is, I have to do it. And she ended up doing it, and her designs are really talented woman. I thought a great conversation. So
now the lead singer of My Chemical Romance is the author of the Umbrella
Academy
comic books, right? So did she do any work for Umbrella Academy or
no, okay. Because that was already done. But
okay.
I just love the fact she's a really great. I thought the conversation was great. She had a lot of really interesting stuff to say, and she worked on a Star Trek fan film.
Oh, nice.
She worked on World Enough in Time that James Cawley made with George Takei.
Yeah, part of the Phase 2.
Yeah, and it was one of her first credits, and I was like, of course I had to go there. I had to ask her.
Nice. All right. So and that's going to be dropping in the Campia channel, correct?
Yeah, it's on now. You can watch it now.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So go ahead and check that out. In the meantime, I'm going to add here Mattuine, and you should be able to unmute now.
How's it going, Rob?
What's up, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, finally good to see you face to face.
Face to face. I like your hat.
I appreciate that. Yeah, a little Columbia action.
Nice.
From your back of the woods area.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, they keep me supplied in the wintertime and the summer.
Nice. Very good. And I've always now Mattuine. Is that the correct pronunciation?
That's correct.
Okay,
That's
good.
correct.
Because I had to, it's been you've been a long time viewer and all that. I want to make sure. Because at first it took me a minute to get it right.
But yeah, a lot of people who aren't kind of in the sci-fi or fantasy Star Wars realm, they go Matuni.
Yeah, and but the funny thing, that's what we all call, we saw Tatooine spelled.
Yeah.
That's Matuni, but Mattuine. I like
that. I always joke and say, Dantoine's my uncle. Since my name's Matt and Mattuine, I thought it worked out pretty good.
I love that. Now, where are you coming to us from today?
I am in West Tennessee, probably about 2 hours west of Nashville.
Nice.
Over here on the Tennessee River.
I had never been to Tennessee until 2018. I loved it there. Tennessee is an incredibly beautiful state. We were staying outside, about 45 minutes outside a place. I want to say Ford, but it wasn't Ford.
You're probably Franklin.
That's that's what it was. Franklin.
Yeah.
It was great, and I love the fact that the landscape was beautiful, and there were just signs everywhere. This was this battle in the Civil War, and I felt like, my God, but what a great place. And the food.
Man, I love it. Yeah. We know how to cook down here, man. I'll tell you what.
I apologize that there's been a lot of people from the entertainment industry moving to Tennessee and driving up your real estate prices. So I apologize for that.
Well, yeah, especially in the Franklin area. I think you can't get a house there for less than probably $500,000 right now.
Yeah.
And it's not that much. It's a modest house.
I wish. I wish but no, it's great there. And the Franklin had some great restaurants, and I loved it.
Oh yeah. Well, I would encourage you to come back. I think the ICC Con is going to be down there in Franklin this spring. I think it's Memorial Weekend. It's probably kind of a bad weekend, but they had a great Star Wars kind of convention in Nashville last year. A lot of the great Star Wars actors and voice actors. Anthony Daniels was there, and you could just walk up to it. They're very easy to come up to. We talked to them on the sidewalk for 15 minutes. Very approachable.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's not like the big cons where everybody's really protected and guarded.
I really like the people in Tennessee that I met. I mean, we were in downtown Nashville. We also went to some just hole in the wall place for like hot wings or something. And somebody said, you got to go to this. It was amazing.
Yeah, you might have gone to Prince's or Hattie B's. Hattie B's is the real famous one.
Maybe it was Hattie
Prince's. B's. Yeah, they both started off with modest beginnings, over on the East Nashville side. But
But
Man,
they were,
it's
I mean, they were, the place we went was like, it was like in a mini mall or something. I'm like, really?
Yeah,
You know,
you never know.
Man, it was so good.
Yeah. Hey, I took your advice the other day. Well, actually, earlier this week, I was under the weather and took a day off of work, and I watched Vesper.
Oh, what'd you think?
I loved it, man.
You're the only person I know that has watched this. Nobody has watched it.
You know, it was a little slow, but I love the speaking of imagination connoisseurs, the imagination that went into building that world, and not having to really explain to you how everything works. Some of the biological interactions that the engineering that they use.
Where did you watch it?
Watched it just on Amazon Prime.
Okay, yeah, that's where I saw it too.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was. So for those of you who don't know, tell the folks at home, what is Vesper?
Vesper is, I guess it would be sort of like, imagine Children of Men type future, dystopian future, where you know, mankind is overreached their bounds with dealing with genetic engineering, and they've ruined the environment. With their crops are no longer fertile. Their seeds can only be genetically designed to where they only sprout one crop. You can't replant from the same crop. And there's more of a rural setting where the people use technology, but they're very low class compared to the people in the citadels, the big cities that have all the technology and the wealth.
These mushroom-like beautiful. It's so cool.
Oh yeah, all the design, and like the girl whose father's consciousness is in that drone. I won't say much more, but that's her companion. You know, as she goes along, she's a very smart girl, very quiet. But I really enjoyed just the simple story it was telling about how she survived and had to deal with her uncle, who I believe that was that Earl? No, not Earl. Something Marsden, the actor. I can't remember his name.
But
you've seen him in a lot of things.
Yeah, he's been in a million things, and I'm glad you watched it because I was kind of really taken aback because that movie didn't get a theatrical release or anything, and I didn't know anything about it. I kind of stumbled across it.
Yeah, and
I loved it. I'm like, it's amazing to me, especially foreign. There's a lot of great science fiction being made around the world that we're not seeing here, and the only way to see it is on these streaming services that pick it up.
Yeah,
and I'm glad
I never would have heard of it if I never would have known about it unless you mentioned it. You know, sometimes I like to dig around and find those, but I never would have found it.
Well, thanks for watching, man, because I really appreciate that, because that's the thing, there is a lot of great stuff being made. It's just that so little of it is being promoted here domestically. And it's frustrating. I mean, you know, I hate to say this is a terrible thing to admit, but you know those channels that'll do like the movie, they'll encapsulate a movie in like 20 minutes. They're on YouTube. They're like, this movie is, and they'll have like an AI voice tell you the whole story of the movie.
Monotonous.
Yeah, I hate that shit. However, I've discovered a lot of movies. I'm like, well, that sounds pretty cool. If one of these things, I'll turn it off and then I'll go find the actual movie. I'll be like, I didn't see that movie. When did that come out?
Yeah, that's where you find the hidden gems.
Yeah, and that's how I found Vesper, I think.
I'll tell you what, I'll just get off at this last point, and I'm probably the thousandth person to ask you this, but I would love for you sometime to have a YouTube stream with Mr. Paul Chotto.
I love him, and we've talked about it. I just haven't followed up. I'd love to talk to him.
I think I really like your ships in the same shuttle bay. I think
we do
that much of a center point.
And I like the fact that he's kind of fairly new to the game, and you know, he blew past my channel. He's done a great job, and I really like his videos.
Yeah, I think you guys would have, with his business insight on the TV production side and yours in the movie, I think you guys you can nail, you know, the understanding of what's going on today in this realm.
Well, I appreciate that. Like, I'll reach out to him again and be like, hey, let's do it. I had a really fun stream the other night on filmmaking, which I thought was a lot of fun, you know. But I'd love to do it with Paul. It'd be great.
Thanks, Mattuine. Great to see
you. Good. Hey, it was good to meet you face to face.
And I put out the order form for those stickers, and just so you know, I'm happy to send these out for free. I'm not charging for them, so you can just fill out the form and let me know your address, and I'll mail it out to you. And next up is some old guy in Hawaii. And
What's
you
up,
should
man?
be able to unmute now.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
What's going on?
Awesome. Sorry to hear about your back. I know what it means to dread any cough or sneeze. I've had that kind of stuff. You're like the third person I've heard this week who fell off a ladder. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I've never fallen off a ladder before. And it's funny because Mike Bodden had fallen off a ladder. I'm like, I'll never fall off a ladder. And when they were leaving, they're like, don't fall off the ladder. And I did.
Okay.
Coming down.
Yeah, the great thing about coming in late in the lineup is I get to hear all these cool topics. But the bad thing is I want to jump in on all of them and not get to what I was originally going to talk about. So a couple.
Well, the force is with you, and you're with the force.
Yeah, I know. The first thing is Manhunter was also my first introduction to Stephen Lang, but it was also my introduction to Brian Cox.
Oh,
and
okay.
He's criminally underrated Hannibal Lecter.
Oh.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Blood the Moonlight, Will? It looks quite black. He's so
great.
It's
not that. No, it's not that. It's he's sitting in his cell and Will is there and they're talking. He's going back and forth. But I could do this for you and I could do for this. Would you like to give me your home phone number? And that's so creepy out. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. What I wanted to throw out there was get some opinions on 3D. Because I have some very specific opinions about 3D. I've watched maybe a dozen 3D films in my life. And my overall thing is, at this point still, it is at best a nice extra, at worst a gimmick, more the extra. Because no filmmaker has really learned to figured out how to use it to really tell a story. In the same way as you were talking earlier about blocking and editing and sound and color. Nobody's really gotten there yet. It's good technology, but I would argue that most people are going to see Avatar in 2D.
Right.
And they're not going to miss it. I saw it in 3D IMAX a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to go back and see it again. It was great. But what I believe happens when you see a 3D movie is pretty much everybody is for the first 5 minutes or so, it's gee whiz. This is really cool. Oh, this is freaking awesome. And then you get used to it.
Yeah. Okay? I mean, I think with Cameron, what he did with the first Avatar and to a certain extent Way of Water is the 3D that he's going for is immersive. He wants to make you feel it more than anything else. Whereas
I get that. And I agree with that.
I think what I would love to see a movie like The Road Warrior, like a protracted chase sequence shot in 3D where you have point of view shots of the cars crashing into each other. Because the thing about 3D is they've never, when they first came out with it, you'd watch horror films or like coming at you.
I saw Metal Storm in Space Hunter.
Yeah, me too. And they were always like sticking stuff out. And it was always a novelty there. There's been it's very difficult to use 3D. Yeah, because all 3D does is try and make it feel like more how we see.
Actually, I would disagree with that. The 3D effect is not reality. It's an exaggeration. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But it's an exaggeration.
Right. It's a total exaggeration. But I mean, when you have that dimensionality, like Cameron's trying to make it feel more real, like you're in that world.
Well,
but a lot of the old filmmakers would just stick things out of the screen and it was gimmicky. And
I have to say the one 3D film I enjoyed more than any other was not shot in 3D, was Conversion.
Oh,
it was a little film from '85 called Top Gun. Okay, and
86.
86. I'm sorry. Yeah. What I realized was when we were on the ground, it didn't get in the way, and when we were in the air, everything popped.
Well, that's Top Gun is a great Top Gun, Titanic, and Jurassic Park are all great 3D conversions.
I've seen those in 3D, yeah, and I would agree. But again, I'm saying you're not really missing you're not missing the story if you don't see it that way. I mean, there was an improvement between Avatar and Way of Water.
Yeah.
Because the other thing I had with Avatar, the original one, is that a lot of times 3D will get in the way. Okay. And that didn't happen in Way of Water except for maybe once, and I think it was deliberate.
Yeah, I just think that I understand what Cameron's trying to do to make it more immersive, and I think it worked well. But at the end of the day, it's still a movie.
Yes,
and I think that this idea that you want to make it more immersive. I mean, I understand that from a visual standpoint. I get it, but it's still a movie. Like I'm not
Yeah,
on Pandora, and you can make it look as good as you want, but I know that I'm not there. So as good as you can make it look. And the funny thing is, when you use the high frame rate, I
haven't seen yet. So
well, it's the thing about high frame rate is it tricks your mind. They call it the soap opera effect, but because that's on tape, the idea is we're seeing something the way we would see it in real life. So because that's how our brains work. So when you're looking at something on a screen that looks like real life, like when you're watching The Hobbit, people say it's like watching a stage play, because there is a certain barrier when we watch a movie that we know that the movie that we're watching is not real life, and it's persistence of vision. It's 24 frames a second, and so the perception of our mind. So when you do something at high frame rate, suddenly your mind is looking at something that appears to be real, even though we know we're watching a movie. And
there's no motion blur.
It doesn't work. And I think it becomes distracting. And they found out that a lot of movies, especially fantasy films, like my first job was working in the art department. And I understood scenic painters blew me away. Like I would watch the scenic.
Oh my God.
Well, no, scenic painters, they could paint a wall and make it look like it was stone. But it wasn't. But that was for the camera. And when you saw The Hobbit in the high frame rate, the first time I saw An Unexpected Journey, the first Hobbit movie, I'm like, it looks like you're watching a play on a set, because the unreality that's created by persistence of vision, you need to buy into watching a movie. And when they try and make movies look more like real life, then it's not a movie anymore.
Exactly. That's my point. It's not a movie anymore. When something really gee whiz happens in a 3D movie or a distraction, at that moment you're not really totally in the movie anymore. So you get pulled out of it temporarily, at least.
I totally agree. By the way, how's the weather in Hawaii now?
The weather is outstanding. It's a little chilly. I've been going to the pool in the morning when nobody else is there, because even though it's a heated pool, 60-degree air weather, it's still 60-degree temperature.
Right.
But it's nice now. It's up in the 70s and 80s. So.
And where are you? I forget. What island are you on?
Oahu.
Okay. I love Oahu. As a matter of fact, I was at the Hawaii. That's where Quentin Tarantino saw my movie Free Enterprise. It was the most nerve-wracking 2 hours of my life. He sat right in front of me. He laughed a lot. It's great.
Thank you, old guy in Hawaii. Thanks for joining us this morning. Or not, I keep saying this morning. It's already this afternoon here in the Pacific Northwest. So
come on, dude. We're already 2 hours into this.
I know, but we're moving pretty quickly, actually. I'm kind of
pretty surprised. Good. Pretty good. Yeah. I said, dude, I don't have 5 hours.
I think the 7 minutes with Rob rule is working out well. So
that's like 7 minutes in heaven,
as long as they're not making out with you, right?
Yeah.
All right. We have I think it's Ole or Ol coming up. I'm not really sure. But I'm going to go ahead and add you to the screen here. And you should be able to unmute now.
Hello, sir. Yep, you are live.
I'm live, yeah. It's funny to hear about cold weather in Hawaii, weather in Norway.
Yeah, I was going to say.
0 degrees Fahrenheit this morning.
And hopefully this summer I'm going to make it up your way. I got to go see Terrier.
Oh yeah,
I got to come to know, well, because Tango Shalom is opening in Germany, and okay. I want to do a Robservation Nation tour and go all the way through Europe and go meet all the people. I've never been to Norway.
Where does he live? You know?
I don't know where he lives. I don't know. I should, Terry, if you're watching, why aren't you watching? I don't know, but I know he's in Norway.
Okay, it's a pretty huge country, so.
I know, but I've wanted to come to Norway my whole life. It's so beautiful there.
Oh yeah, you can do a train trip up to Fiennes where they filmed Star Wars.
Yeah, and we'll just broadcast the whole time. Just do live streams. Here we are in Norway. We're going to see Oli. What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I thought I'd bring you a little Pink Floyd news.
Oh, please do.
It's the 50th anniversary of Dark Side of the Moon this year.
Oh my God.
And they will be releasing it again in Atmos doubly mix.
Oh, that it's funny. One of the first things when I first set up a surround sound system, you listen to time. Yeah. And the ticking clocks go around. I would
same thing with money.
Yeah, and money. I would totally I would love to get that in Dolby Atmos.
Well, it will be releasing. It's the album and a live recording. I think it was from '74 or something like that.
Oh man, yeah, I'd get that. That's another thing. I'm buying these old. Like, I'm only going to do Prince and Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and then they've been releasing all this vinyl and stuff, and all these other, and that you buy the box set with the vinyl and the Blu-ray and the cassette tapes or whatever. It's like, man, Dark Side of the Moon, I'd have to buy.
And they also released a 5.1 mix of Animals.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was in October.
Yep.
That is definitely worth getting.
Oh, it's so. I have that. It's so good.
Okay.
I just got it.
2018 mix or something.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's really good. But was it Uma Guma? I'd like to get that too. I don't know if they'll ever do that, but maybe.
I don't think that one's in 5.1 yet.
But they could remix it. They're gonna because back in the says Terrier is in Askershus. Askershus.
That's in Oslo.
Oh, it's in Oslo. Okay, well there we go. Are you close?
Well, I'm up in Trondheim, but I usually work in Oslo.
Party in Norway, dude. We're going to Oslo. We're gonna have a Post Geek Singularity party in Norway. You're all invited.
My mailman brought me something this week.
Is that the X06 Tuvok?
Yes.
How great are those figures?
Those are so great.
The tailoring on those costumes is so excellent. Mine got lost in the mail. My Tuvok. No one knows where it is. It's disappeared.
I also love this one.
Oh man, you got the Bo-Katan. Look at that. Yes. That's a great one.
And I really love The Last Son. I don't know if you got that one.
No, which?
This one.
Oh yeah, the Brandon Routh. Yes. The so. Yeah, I had to get that.
That is the most annoying TV appearance I ever seen. They should have used that so much more.
I know. It was very frustrating.
There he is. Goodbye.
Yeah, I know. But those So Toys figures are pretty good. I mean, I gotta open mine all up. There's one that I don't know if you can see it. I've got the Herman, the Rorschach from Watchmen, but it's Laszlo. It's Kovac, Walter Kovacs, Laszlo Kovacs, cinematographer, because he comes.
I also wasn't showing you another Kryptonian guy. I don't know if you can.
Oh, I remember that. You know what? I almost got that. Looks great. How is that figure?
Oh, I bought the body.
Is that a Fison body?
Yes, and you buy the dress and you put it on.
Yeah.
I think it works really good.
Yeah, I really like the Fison bodies, although I've noticed
I don't know how to do the hair, but
yeah,
I think the whole thing
is a good looking figure, though.
Yeah, and these bodies have lady parts,
What's the Fison? When I first got my Fison, I got my first Fison body for my Freddie Mercury. That's right here.
Okay.
And it's obviously it's a dude's body, and there's a little foam packet, and I'm opening it up, and it was 3 dicks. There's 3 dicks there. There was 2 different sized dicks and then an erect dick, and I'm like, what the hell? And what I didn't realize is that Fison bodies are used in art classes, so people can sketch them. And so what I did, because he's Freddie Mercury, I'll tell you guys this. I used the erect penis and I stuffed it in his pants. So if you look at him, no one's gonna know this, but if you look close, because I've got him, in this Freddie Mercury pose, he's got a great bulge in his pants. I figured, Freddie, I'm gonna do you right, buddy. I'm gonna make sure that people know you have the power, not just with your voice. So yes, my Freddie Mercury, I used the Fison erect penis.
Of course you did.
Yeah,
the only right
why not?
Thing to do.
So the girls also have lady parts?
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny because the 2 figures I have with Fison bodies, obviously they came with the Fison bodies, so I've never disrobed them before. Including my Vampirella, who's right over there too. I'm like, right behind right there. I would never dare take her clothes off, but I need a female Feisen body. So
Yeah. No, but
the people out on YouTube are going, what are you talking about? But that Supergirl figure looks great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I really like that costume.
Yeah, it's like a Henry Cavill design of the costume.
Do you have a lot of 12-inch figures, 6 scale?
I have a few.
You're looking at 2 different shelves. You must have quite a few. Yeah. But do you have a favorite?
I know the Darth Vader one.
Is it the Hot Toys Vader?
No, the
Sideshow.
Yeah,
is that the Jedi Vader?
Yes.
Nice.
I really like that one. It had a really like Darth Vader feel to it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. And the 6 scale, like I've like given up. There's just too much. You can't even. Yeah, I can't even begin to. I'm like, I can't keep up. I'm gonna have to go get rich and then go back and buy everything on the secondary market I want. I can't. Can't do it.
Thanks for joining us, Ole. Good to see you.
Stay in touch, man. Ole, I'm coming to Norway next summer. We're going. I'm gonna go see Louise in the UK. Louise and the lovely Emma Bannon. Gonna go hang out.
Did you see Rob my co-host Alex Montano? He has Darth Vader, but it's like 1/3 scale. I mean, it's massive. It's huge. It's like a child.
Is it a statue?
No, it's a figure. And I want to say it's Hot Toys, but it's whatever the next step from
I have that.
Inch.
The quarter scale Vader.
Scale.
I have that figure. Unfortunately, mine fell over and both of the tips of his mask broke off.
Oh no.
And I'm so pissed. And the reason I put him back in the box is I have to fix that.
Okay.
I have to fix it, paint
and
it.
Alex also has an Obi-Wan Kenobi in that size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although those might be the Sideshow statues. They made great interlocking quarter scale statues like 10 years ago or more than that lit up. They're awesome. They're awesome.
So speaking of those parts you got for Freddie Mercury, what happens if you get a John Hamm action figure?
I don't know. The funny thing about it was such a funny thing because when I got the figure, nobody told me that they came, and they're like made of foam, made of latex foam. And when you get them, it's very fun. It was very funny because there's like 3 of them, and I'm like, why would they send you an action figure with an erect penis? And then, of course, the mind races. Well, now that you have it, what are you going to do with it? And then suddenly, here's the thing. When I was growing up, I've always collected figures. Everybody, like when I was in high school, my puerile friends would come in my room and they would find figures and they would put them in positions where all my action figures were fucking.
Compromising positions.
Yeah, and they just thought that was, and I spent a long time, like when I put my figures up, like when I'm really posing them, in my mind, there's a tableau I'm creating. Like an action figure pose is a very important thing.
Well,
like
to
Mel
me,
Rockwell will tell you.
To me, it was, we didn't have the chance to rewatch the movies frequently. So it was reenacting moments and creating my own sequels to what had already come.
Yeah, and the thing is, I feel like when somebody goes in to your action figure collection and it desecrates them.
It is.
It's desecrating. How dare you?
Yep.
But then when you buy an action figure that has a giant erect penis, it feels like, oh, that's permission. Now you can go do something. You can do some horrible, like rated X shenanigans with your figure. I did not, but I'm like, okay, I'm stuffing this big, giant, erect 6 scale penis in Freddie Mercury's pants the way I think he would like it. And
totally agree.
Right up there, right there, people.
You can
it's
see
right
him
there.
Hey, by the way, speaking of John Hamm, I got to see his Fletch movie, Confess Fletch, over the
what'd you
holidays.
think about that?
I thought it was very enjoyable. I mean,
people liked it.
It's you know, as any other Fletch film or Fletch story, it's a little bit of a murder mystery, you know, compared to something like Glass Onion. Is not as complex of a story, but John Hamm is a great choice for the character.
Well, that's what I thought, and I felt bad for him because it kind of came and went. It wasn't well promoted. People were like, wait, what?
It's like it went straight to Showtime.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Anyway, I would recommend it for folks if you are curious to see what a modern take on Fletch would be like. All right, we got Hassoni coming in. Let me.
There he is, Hassoni. What's up?
Welcome, Hassoni. We can't.
Oh, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you. I did. Let's see. Yeah, you are unmuted on Zoom, but we can't hear you.
Hassoni always has the best sunglasses.
Unfortunately,
I want to know you. I want to know
we are not
you
able to hear. You're going to switch to your headphones. Okay, go ahead and try that. We are not hearing you, Hassoni.
In a world where Hassoni
is not
home,
could not be heard.
Oh my God.
What we can do, Hassoni, if it's no, we still can't hear you. What I can do is I'm gonna go ahead and skip to the next person, and maybe you can troubleshoot the audio, even if you have to log out and stuff. I can put you in next, okay? Well, let me go ahead and do that. So I'll remove you from the, and then we're gonna have David Gonzalez come in, who is, I believe, a new member, just joined today.
A new member.
So David, you should be able to unmute now.
Okay.
Welcome.
What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm all right. First, I think it would have been great if you promote your channel a little bit earlier. I wish I could have found this sooner. I heard about it on Weekly Hero, which I always say is dope.
Well, it's funny because I've been doing this for, you know, it's amazing to me, like on John Campion's channel, how few people know. I used to promote it, and John, but I've been doing this, you know, since 2018. But I'm happy to have you.
Thank you. This is the only channel I'm a member of. Everything else I just can't be bothered with.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And it's good to see you. And I think one of the things, sometimes these chats last for 5 hours. So they're fun though. It's good.
I know
good to have
I've
everybody
been here for a little minute. Yeah. So first I want to thank you for the channel, not just this, but also John Campia, because I know for myself, now that I work remote, I have work in my house, so I try to listen to more positive things, and not just positive, but also educational. Because now that I have more time, I'm trying to watch more film. So I've been trying to really pay attention to the references and the behind the scenes knowledge you have about the industry, so I could try to like discover new things.
Dude, nothing makes me happier than hearing that. Because the whole point of all of this is I just want to share ultimately my love of the art form that is cinema. And I feel like a lot of our cinematic history and rich cultural legacy, and I mean that around the world, is getting lost. You know, and I feel like film fans today, all they're watching is Marvel and Star Wars and all that, and that's not that's not what I watched growing up. You know, there's so many great movies around the world that people aren't seeing, and as you know, when you see it, you might find something you had no idea it existed, but it'll touch you in ways that'll inspire you, and that's my whole deal. That's my raison d'etre. The channel is let's talk about cool shit that gets made.
Yeah, I agree. Especially you made a comment in Campia about how a lot of people will speak about different subjects, but they're very illiterate, especially when it comes to film or comics and things of that nature. But they'll just like to pontificate on the subject, even though they don't know.
Yeah.
So when you said that, I was like, all right, I need to check out his channel, see what's going on over there.
I love that about you. And you know, the thing is, I mean, all of this stuff, it should be celebrated. I mean, ultimately, like, we can get mad about our favorite franchises being mishandled, but in general, the baseline is this. It's amazing we have this art form at all. and to have a community. I mean, when I was a kid, I was in a minority of one. I was a social kid. I had lots of friends. I had a good time, but nobody loved the stuff that I loved. And now I live in a world, a universe where everybody does, you know. And it's so funny. I would have thought that when I was younger, there were things that weren't good, but we'd be like, we went into everything wanting everything to be awesome. Like, no,
they
why
gave you
would
the
you want
tools for your imagination to take you there.
Yeah, man. And now I feel like the idea that people they want things to be bad blows me away. I'm like, wait, I hate when things are bad, and I go after people when they make bad shit, but I go into every movie, I go into every comic I read, every novel I read, I'm reading this crazy book called Notice. Somebody says the most offensive book they ever read. I'm like, oh, I gotta buy that. It's about a woman and a stalker, and I'm like reading it going, wow. But I want every book or every movie or every comic, everything to be great. Shouldn't that be the default position?
Yeah, I completely agree. There's way too much of people just jumping straight to negative without actually giving something a fair shot. They'll watch a trailer and say it will be trash because of why.
I mean, even Indiana Jones, I get it, but James Mangold as a filmmaker has never let us down. He's never made there's movies he's made, they go up and down in quality. The Madman Logan and Ford v Ferrari, and even his movie Identity I enjoyed. Copland, a Stallone, back then people forget, but when Stallone made that movie, it was a great Stallone performance. And he made Indiana Jones.
All that weight, right?
Yeah, yes, that's right. And hasn't he earned our respect?
Exactly.
When's James Mangold let you down? Even when he remakes 3:10 to Yuma, it's good. So why do people line up who wants to hate a movie that Harrison Ford's in that because of Phoebe Waller-Bridge? And the funny thing about that is Fleabag is good. Fleabag is good. I don't understand.
Yeah. I want to bring up with you The Whale, because I'm here in New York City, so I'm fortunate enough to be able to go to the big AMC by Juilliard.
Oh, yeah.
They have a lot downstairs. They have a lot of those art house films before they are a wide release.
Yep.
So the reason why I want everyone that when they get a chance to watch this movie is what happened when the movie was over. Because when the movie ends, usually people start getting up. When the credits start, people start leaving. When the credits are done, because they wait for an after credit scene, if there's nothing there, she got up and leave. In this theater, no one got up. Everyone just sat there. You felt the wave of an exhale and emotion, and people just looked at each other. Like I looked at the couple next to me, and it was a gentleman that was next to me with his wife, late 60s, early 70s, and he had tears in his eyes. I just pat him on the shoulder, and he just pat me and said, "Thank you, son." And it was like nobody wanted to leave because we all had the shared experience, and we had that security blanket that once we leave, we're going to lose these strangers that we don't know, but we don't want to lose them.
Right.
And
because you guys have all gone through something together.
Right. And if Avatar makes you want to save the world, The Whale made you really want to believe in the hope of loving a person. And I was like, okay.
That is an incredible commentary on the power of cinema.
Right.
When I first saw Way of Water with Elizabeth, we saw it in an IMAX theater, and there was a dude standing in the corner of the theater down the bottom left, right there in the aisle, ready to leave. And he was just standing there looking at the screen. And I didn't really notice him. And we're walking down. I didn't know if I saw him. And I'm talking to Elizabeth. I'm like, that was an amazing experience. And as we were about to pass him, he stops and he goes, right? That was amazing. I can't believe how immersive. And we'll walk down with him. We're talking and he leads me out. And there's his whole family, his two sons, his wife, his brother's wife. And we stood in the lobby for 30 minutes talking about the movie and the experience of it all. And what was, I hadn't had that in a long time. And what you're describing with The Whale, movies are, John always says they're experiential events. I wouldn't have described them that way, but he's not wrong. I mean, when you see a movie that's truly affecting, truly transporting, what it does is it doesn't matter how old you are, what your beliefs are. The power of cinema is it gathers a bunch of people together. Like in our divisive political world, everybody loves movies. Everybody. You put people together that don't know one another and you take them on a journey. And when it's over, the great films, look at you and a man you don't know You patted each other on the back. You guys went through an experience together. You recognize it. You celebrate the joy and the fact that movies, ultimately, the great ones, they bring people together. They shatter all differences between people in a second, because we're sitting in a room next to perfect strangers that we might be hating each other on the internet. We don't even know it. We get in a room, lights come down, you show a movie, man, there's no quicker way to bond people than over a great story. I'd also say a great meal, but that's not what we're talking about, but a great story. And you're absolutely right, man. And by the way, thanks for being joining the channel. Totally appreciate it. And we do these every other week.
Yeah,
so,
welcome, David. Great to have you here. And yeah, we
by the way, that is a great story about the whale. I love that story. I love that story.
Yeah, we try to do these every other week. With the holidays, we have to take a break here and there, but we try as much as possible to stick to the twice a month schedule. So, and on the opposite Saturday, we do our Spanish show, ¿Qué pasa PGS? So,
¿Qué pasa? When's the first episode of ¿Qué pasa PGS?
It'll be next Saturday.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and we have
we got to figure out a way to promote that among Spanish speaking people.
Yeah. That's the part that I'm no good at, is the promotion. I'm better at the content creation than I am at the promotion.
By the way, I have to say, the thing that I'm building this big spaceship, the space battleship Andromeda. From what's amazing is this telephone, just your regular iPhone, whatever, the Google Translate app. The thing that is I always talk about how the modern age is amazing. So you can set it up on your phone using the camera. I just pass the camera over the all Japanese instruction, and it just immediately shows it to me in English.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
And I'm like, I was totally intimidated about building this model because there's a lot of lighting and electronics that goes into it. I'm like, I'm fucked. I'm never going to be able to do. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And there's another.
It's like we're about 3 or 4 generations away from universal translators.
Well, the thing about it is, I've heard people you can go and you can put an earbud in your ear, and there's Google Translate. You can just hold it up and listen to people talk.
Yeah. On my work,
and it'll just.
On my work recently, Rob, I was trying to help a Ethiopian student, monolingual, did not speak any English. We put our phone in between us, and we had the conversation back and forth using the translation feature on the phone.
Dude, there is universal translation. It's
unbelievable.
It's so insane. And I'm looking at this model, and what's funny was I've been gathering the parts since March of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And I had bought modeling tools. I was so intimidated by this 4.5 foot long. I didn't want to fuck it up because I wanted. It's like. And even Elizabeth was like, where are you going to put that? I'm like, who cares? And I was so scared to dive into building it.
Yeah.
Because I love Space Battleship Yamato. I love it. And I didn't want to mess it up. And I was so worried about it. And then I'm like, when I downloaded Google, I'm like, how good can this app be? Because the only build videos are a Japanese dude and a German dude. And I'm like, I'll sit there with my computer and I'll listen to them. No, that Google Translate, I just pass it right over the top. And what's amazing is it literally looks like it when you're looking at the instructions, it goes bing, and the writing is just suddenly English.
It redoes the image with the writing on it. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It does its best to align the font and the font size and everything. It's pretty amazing.
I can't believe it.
All right, Rob, we're gonna try to bring in Hassoni once again. He reconnected. Let's see if we can have Hassoni's audio come through now. Hassoni, I just asked you to unmute. Go ahead and try unmuting on Zoom. Can we hear you?
You gotta hear me, right?
Oh, you're very loud now.
We hear you,
can
but
hear
really,
you, but
yeah,
you're
it's really
very
warbly.
loud.
It's really kind of loud and a little distorted.
Now try it. Try talking right now.
Okay, is it better now?
It's still really loud, but
it's better now.
It's better now, but it's still really loud.
I don't know the topic is wrong. Okay, but I'm gonna talk calmly, okay? Hello, Rob. I'm sorry for last time for the stream, you know.
It's hard to talk. It's hard to hear.
Hello?
Yeah, if you you whispered and said, "Hey man, hey dude, what's up?" Just bring it down. Bring it down. I don't know why it's so loud.
Okay.
That's good.
I'm gonna whisper.
That's good. Right.
Like this.
And
better?
lean back a little more.
Okay. I will not hurt anybody. Okay, so first of all, Rob, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for last time.
That's all good.
The stream about that guy. I don't know what happened, but I didn't connect to his site again.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's okay.
And by saying that, I hope that you guys resolved everything and it's over.
It's hard
because
you've frozen again. You've frozen again, and it's hard. We can't.
I wanted to read something for you today.
We can't, Hassoni. We can't hear you. It's too. I don't know what's going on. I apologize.
Yeah, Hassoni, I'm so sorry, but your audio is it's coming in very broken up, and I'm trying to see if there's any settings that I could correct in Zoom, but it might be. You know what? Another option would be is Zoom does let you call in on the phone as opposed to doing the audio through your computer.
Wait. Is it better now?
That's a little better. But now
now we can't hear you. I'm so sorry, Hassoni. I'm gonna go ahead and jump to the next person, but go ahead and keep trying. I'll try to bring you in when we can, and if you want to try with your phone, and that might also help. Okay. So let me go ahead and no, sorry.
I love that is talking about in the live chat. She's like, confession. My Padme and Anakin on order. Those 6-scale figures will be in poses that are not what others will do. I'm like, all right, that's what I'm talking about.
The next person up is Yash, but I don't have an option. Doesn't look like Yash has a microphone connected. Are you on the phone, Yash? Because in Zoom it doesn't show microphone, so I'm gonna skip to Kevin next, and then we'll try to get back to both Hassoni and Yash in a little bit. But Yash, just so you know, it doesn't look like there's a microphone connected to Zoom, so I'm not able to ask you to unmute because there's nothing to unmute. Okay.
But hold on, Yash. See if you can make that work out.
And see if you can fix it. So we're gonna go to Kevin Welburn next. Go to
What's up, dude? All the way down here. He comes from a land down under.
Kelvin, you should be able to unmute now.
Hello.
Welcome.
What's up, buddy?
I just wanted to ask you a couple of things. I was thinking about Casablanca.
Oh, have you watched that yet?
No, I haven't. I really was hoping to do it this weekend. I was just
tasty.
I know you're buying the other big box because, of course, in Australia, this is all we get.
Yeah, I did buy that, but I had to go get the big box. But yeah.
What concerns me is that I have this one as well.
That's that's the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I know.
Here's the thing. You don't it's so, to be honest, those big boxes are kind of silly. With Casablanca, you don't need it. I and by the way, for me to say you don't need it is ridiculous because of course you need it, but you don't need it. All I can say to you is that here's the thing about the Casablanca thing. The big box, the European box, comes with a steelbook and then a bunch of swag. But that disc you have, the transfer, what's really great about Casablanca is the audio. The audio has never been better. It looks great in 4K. But yeah, so many box sets of Casablanca. You have plenty of swag. You don't need, unless you want a steel book or whatever.
Right.
You've got the one. I have a question to ask you.
Yep.
The imprint film noir or the modern noir, the volume 2 set.
Yeah, I actually have it here.
Okay, you have it here. Apparently it's sold out. I thought I'd be able to get it. Dude, whatever you need, if you can find me another one of those, I'll pay for it. Because it's got Narc, Joe Carnahan's Narc in that, which is one of my DVDs I have to replace. And I already have Internal Affairs, but it's got Catherine Bigelow's Blue Steel in it. Bro, I don't know why. I thought I had ordered it. And like I got it. You'll see it tomorrow. I got a big order from Imprint. And I thought that was in my order. And apparently it wasn't.
Oh, that's upsetting.
It's like sold out. But yeah, and I was so pissed. But anyway,
Hi-Fi probably has it
because it's like sold out.
Yeah, because this is what I had for the same movie. I went and bought. I mean, I've never heard of this movie. I've never seen it, but it's sold out on the Imprint Vision website.
Yeah,
and I had the FOMO effect, the fear of missing out on a movie that I don't know anything about.
I mean, I thought when I placed this order, and you'll see it tomorrow on Let's Get Physical Media, and I was like, where's my, and apparently it wasn't on my thing. And I'm like, God, because I really wanted the Blu-rays of Narc and Blue Steel.
I'll do my best to go and find you one to see.
How great is that? I got that. What do you think?
I haven't watched it yet. It's got no time to watch all
Yeah, I was so happy that I'm going to show that. I'll show that tomorrow.
Until you mentioned it, and I thought I'm going to rush out and buy it.
I mean, it's Diane Lane. It's a low budget punk rocker, film, but I really like getting it. The fact that Imprint put it out, it's one of those movies. What's really interesting is it proves my adage that pop culture only lasts 20 years. I mean, when I was in the 80s, Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains was a movie that people talked about because we had lots of, Sid Nancy, we had lots of punk rocker-esque movies coming out. And nowadays, the director of the movie River's Edge recently passed away. And people don't even remember. I mean, these movies that were so vital to my youth, no one even remembers them. And it's so depressing. But
there's the other Imprint ones that came out slightly early. So
they're doing a great job. I mean, I'll show it now because people will see it tomorrow. Here's what I did not know. So I bought Barfly. I love the movie Barfly. I had no idea, like the Harry Palmer movies you sent me, I had no idea it was a box set. I had no idea it had this amazing artwork on the cover. And I don't know if I wasn't paying attention, it doesn't just have the movie, but it has a whole documentary on Charles Bukowski in it. And I had
what they do.
I had no clue. But like the Warriors, this is awesome. This set is awesome. And I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention is because I love your little rant about this company called Warner Brothers taking over the ownership of this other company.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that's really a rich thing to do, isn't it?
Well, I mean, and look, here's the thing. So for those of you who don't know, 2023 is the 100th anniversary of both Disney and Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers acquired a lot of the MGM library via shenanigans in the 80s, Ted Turner and all that. So Warner Brothers is showing Morgan Freeman, we're the storytellers. And I did a rant about this on Let's Get Physical Media that I put on the channel. So Warner Brothers is basically claiming MGM movies as their own because now it would be like if you're a department store, somebody brought this up. I don't take credit for this thought. It was on a comment section. If you're a department store and you're selling, say, Gucci or Tom Ford or Yves Saint Laurent, you are selling those things, but you don't claim to have made them. Basically, what Warner Brothers is doing is they're claiming ownership as part of their own legacy of movies they didn't make. And the MGM legacy in Hollywood in the 20th century is a big, big, big legacy. Mismanagement and horrible things happen, and the great films are sold out from under them piecemeal. It was gross. But historically, MGM was an incredible studio. MGM made Wizard of Oz. They made Gone with the Wind. Now, Warner Brothers, for their 100th anniversary, in 1939, MGM had Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind come out. Warner Brothers itself had Dark Victory with Bette Davis and Humphrey Bogart. That came out. But Warner Brothers is front and center saying, look at these movies we made. And they're claiming even Poltergeist, MGM movie. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Paramount film, now owned, distributed by Warner Brothers. And they're putting all of these movies into their 100th anniversary celebration that they didn't make. Now, why does it matter? Probably doesn't in the long run. But as film fans, if you're studying the history of Hollywood, the history of the 20th century, Warner Brothers should not be claiming brands that they sell but they didn't make as part of their legacy. And that's my only objection. And a lot of people say, Rob, why do you care? Because we live in a counterfeit culture where the reality of history is no longer important. And I think it is important, even when it's only about the history of cinema.
Thank you for joining us, Kelvin. Great to see you. And thanks as always for sharing.
I'm glad you watched that rant. By the way, that film noir, that set part volume 2, if you can find one, I'm very angry.
And Rob,
I got Ken Russell's whore.
What they need to do on that commercial is have Morgan Freeman say, making and acquiring movies for the last 100 years.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I know it's not a big deal,
right?
But it's really frustrating to watch. And by the way, I'm not the only one who thinks so.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna give Hassoni one more chance. He's calling in on the phone this time, and so we're gonna go ahead and try it. Let's see with Hassoni. You should be able to unmute now, Hassoni. Let's try it again.
Hello, guys.
Yes.
You sound fantastic. There
Fuck
it is.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. Fuck.
Fucking metal, bro.
What's up, Rob?
Now you sound wonderful. So how are you doing? How's Sweden?
Well, Sweden is cold, as you see.
Yeah.
It's cold. Yeah, but I'm good, I'm chilling.
How's the comic coming?
Comic is going very well. We're in almost every library in our town, and we are in 4 comic shops.
Nice.
2 in our town, and 1 in Stockholm, and 1 in Gothenburg. So it's going somewhere, Rob.
That's good, man.
Yeah, but Rob, today I wanted to read you something.
Uh-oh. Is it family friendly? It's okay. It doesn't have to be. Just don't get my
it's not fucked up, but it's just the forewords from the first issue.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So you ready?
Yep. I am ready as I'll ever be. Crossing my fingers though.
Okay, this is 4 words for our first comic. Okay, it's about a guy who's gonna kill terrorists, ISIS, and he's gonna take away all the corruption. So back to the 4 words. So during an era when superheroes were dominating the movie screens, in theaters, many of us felt that despite our love of the genre, they became quite predictable and tiresome. Both the villains and the heroes were too one-dimensional, and we rarely got to see something outside the box. The crowds grew bigger, and fewer risks were taken. Heavy and thought-provoking subjects were avoided out of fear of negative publicity. Wahid is a strong counterpoint to the mainstream narrative. He's involved in religious and geopolitical conflicts. He takes on substantial issues like religious dogma, terrorism, and corruption. Wahid gives readers the pleasure of escaping reality with an exhilarating story packed with action whilst pushing limits many haven't. It's uncompromising in its storytelling and forces us to open our eyes to the gruesomeness in our world.
That's a great, okay. Did the writer of the comic write that?
Actually, our co-writer. We have two writers.
That's a really great introduction. Congratulations. I love that. That's terrific.
Thank you.
I love that you actually put that. I love that you put that in the comic. Now, dude, how are we going to get this comic in America?
I actually sent it to you, but because of everything in the world, I don't know when it's coming.
Yeah, look, I can't wait to read it. I'll do a review of it. I want to see it. I don't know where
that would be great.
It's okay because my Highlander discs that I ordered from Amazon UK disappeared too.
Exactly.
It's true. Things
Stuff
just
like that
disappear.
happens.
Although, spoiler alert, I may have figured out a reach around for that. Oh, I mean a workaround. Sorry, not a reach around.
Okay.
But no, we'll see. But yeah, I want to get your comics, man. I mean, I think it's, and that's a great intro.
You'll get it. Well, thank you, and you'll get it, Rob. You'll get it. And Rob, I never asked about this stuff before, but I'm kind of getting into YouTube now.
Yep.
And I have more like 3,000 viewed hours.
Yep.
But I only have 89 subscribers. So if you could give me a shout out so I can go over the 100.
Okay, well, Sony, for everybody watching now, where can people find your YouTube channel?
Beyond Comics _2099. It's easy.
Beyond Comics _2099.
Yes. So please, guys, if you want to, you don't need to, but
let's help Sony get monetized so we can make more comic books.
Exactly. More comic books, more comic book content, and I want to talk about movies like you, Rob. That's my biggest dream.
There you go.
That's my biggest dream.
But yeah, but what I love the fact that you're a creator making product. You're making art. You're putting it out there.
Thank you.
No, but you're doing it.
You're doing it, actually.
And you've done 3 issues so far, right? We haven't got issue 4 yet.
Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing.
The 4th issue, the script is done, and we have the first cover for it, which is amazing, and it's called Wahid, Maximum Exodus. And it's a homage to Carnage, Maximum Carnage.
Oh, nice.
So instead of Carnage, in the sky like this, we see this god. He's above the pyramids like this. That will come later.
I can't wait. That's amazing.
Amazing, Rob. And Rob, I saw 3 movies.
What'd you see?
All of the movies includes one of my favorite actor, Ralph Fiennes. Okay. Okay, so listen.
Dude, do you know what dropped on it? Do you have HBO Max?
Yes.
Fucking Strange Days.
I've seen it.
Strange Days on HBO Max. It just dropped, although it's in the wrong aspect ratio. But
I love it. I've seen it before, Rob.
So good.
I love it. But I saw. Okay, wait. First of all, I saw In Bruges.
So
I've been in Bruges, but I haven't seen Bruges until last week. And I saw The Banshees of Inisherin, which I fucking love.
Yep.
My favorite movie of the year. I don't give a fuck about anything else. And yesterday, I saw The Menu, which I loved, actually. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, and Ralph Fiennes is great in it.
Amazing in it. Amazing. It wasn't a bit like that's some plot holes and stuff, but I like the concept of it.
Yeah, and that, yeah, absolutely, man. Dude, Ralph Fiennes, he's the man. Look, I am begging Paramount to do The English Patient. I don't care what anyone says, it won Best Picture. You know what's funny? When I saw The English Patient, I walked out of the theater. I think I saw it with my friend Wayne Mogilevsky, and I went. I think we saw in my own head mythology. We saw Unforgiven together in '92, and I was like, Wayne, it was over. I go, that movie's going to win Best Picture, and it came out in the summer, and it won. When I saw English Patient, I'm like, bro, that movie is going to win Best Picture, and it did. And everyone's like, that movie's boring, and I'm like, no. That and Ralph Fiennes. I want to be, if I could combine Lenny Nero from Strange Days with the Count Amalfi in English Patient, I'd want to be Ralph Fiennes. Although my hairline's better than his now. So, you know, what are you going to do? But come on, Ralph Fiennes is the fucking man. He is the fucking man. And he's Voldemort.
Yeah. And he's M.
And he's now M. Ralph Fiennes might be the great, and he hooked up with Kristen Scott Thomas in The English Patient, who had a screen debut in Under the Cherry Moon because Prince cast her. Come on.
Right. That's right.
Who's also right there on the show.
Thanks for joining us, Sony. Good to see you. Sorry for the technical challenges, but I'm glad that worked out at the end there. So we'll see you next time. Okay, and then Yash has also
he's back.
Yeah, he's back. Let's go ahead and try Yash, since I know that he was up at the top of the queue when he had to fix things. Yash, let me see. Yeah, I just asked you to unmute. You should be able to unmute, Yash.
And by the way, we should cap it. Yash should be, so no more hand raising.
No more hand raising after. So yeah, so we only have 3 more hands. So we'll just leave it at that after.
Yeah, leave it at that, because we've already been going for what, 3 hours?
3:20. Yeah.
Wow, keep it under 4. That'd be amazing.
I know. We'll see. Yash,
only because.
Yash, yeah. Can you hear us? I've asked you to unmute, but it doesn't look like you have unmuted yet.
Hey.
Oh, there you are.
There you are.
Hey, I was trying to get. I understand that this stream's been going on for some time. I'm kind of in the middle of watching Lawrence of Arabia.
Yash, you're the man. Have you seen it before?
I actually never have.
Oh my God, what do you think so far? This is amazing. What do you think so far?
It's I just got past the intermission, so I'm kind of just, if you can see this.
We don't see any video from you.
Oh shoot. Okay, hold up. I'm doing this on my phone. There you go. Okay.
Now we can see you. All right.
Yeah. No, I'm yeah, so where was I?
I just love the fact you're watching Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of like
nice.
Deep into it.
Yeah.
I just got past the intermission. Kind of an epic movie. Movie.
Defines epic. Come on now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't understand how to appreciate the movie. Like, I don't know. I always put it off because it was like 4 hours long. But
right,
I got it on 4K. So
and are you engrossed?
It is. It's very engrossing.
Right.
It's very engrossing. It's really well made. I don't even know who directed it.
David Lean directed it.
Oh, David Lean. Okay,
yeah.
I thought it was Cecil B.
Maurice Charay did the score. Omar Sharif. But I'm digging.
Sharif.
I'm digging that you're digging it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's. I've been watching so much stuff. Like I saw Tar. I watched After Sun.
Yeah.
I watched I was watching just so much like just normal like contemporary sort of cinema, and I was like, I needed to watch something that I haven't seen.
Now let me ask you this: since you're a virgin brain, to quote Lenny Nero in Strange Days, watching Lawrence of Arabia for the first time, how is Lawrence of Arabia different than contemporary movies, or is it? And do you feel the story it's telling and the way it's told is still worthy today?
I think so far, because I'm still watching it right now.
Yeah, you're in the middle. You're
So I'm kind of in the middle of it. So I don't have a full. I can't really necessarily give you a full thing until once I finished it. But one thing I do appreciate about it the most is the scope and scale. I think this movie came out in 1962, and it doesn't look dated at all, because I think they're doing most of this like on.
It's all practical. There's no visual effects.
Exactly. So like I think there's only few movies that I think even have the same feeling as this movie. I think Raiders of the Lost Ark does.
Yep.
Raiders, I think I something that I feel like I'm feeling those same vibes as Raiders. Dune, recently, a more contemporary movie.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the story and the time and the I think it's weird though, because we also live in an era where we have like long form television shows.
Yep.
Where you can actually sit and absorb the characters, but as a movie, you don't get these kind of experiences where you're just sitting with the characters, you know, and letting them just have conversations and just absorbing the world, or just them sitting in the desert for like 5 minutes straight.
Yep.
You know, not like there's no talking, there's nothing. It's just them in the desert, just having simple conversations, just absorbing the landscapes. So yeah, as like those are things that are like I'm noticing so far, like at least.
But are you digging it? Are you entertained?
Oh yeah, no, very much so. I am.
Right?
I'm super engrossed in it. It's a very
that's what I love to hear. You know, a movie from 1962. You're super engrossed in it. You know, you say that to me, I'm like, that's the power of cinema, and it doesn't matter whether it was made in 62 or now. Great cinema will engross you.
Exactly.
But, and I give it up for you, because you sought it out. You know, you went out and you found. I mean, I know, but a lot of people don't, and you went out and sought it out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love movies. So like, it's just like it doesn't matter what, when, where, how. I just need to. There's some.
But that attitude is not unique. It used to be. It is. I mean, it is unique today, because a lot of people won't. People are like, oh, that movie is made in 62. I'm not going to watch that. What does it have to offer to me? I don't know. But it does. Like you said, you equated Lawrence of Arabia to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Thank you, my friend. You are a true imagination connoisseur.
Hey, I try to be. The thing is that, you know, one of my favorite Bond movies is Goldfinger, and I watched that at such a young age. So there's certain movies, and 2001: A Space Odyssey is also something from the 60s. You know, Clockwork Orange. So
you and I park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay.
I appreciate that. I mean, there's certain movies that like they don't scare me. You know, it's just I think the 50s have. I've tried watching North by Northwest and some Hitchcock, and I just don't know. I feel like Hitchcock is sort of like handicapped by like the restrictions of like the you know, just like censorship codes, right? Like I feel like his movie should be more rated R.
He's also very mannered. His direction is very precise.
Yeah.
It's an acquired taste. Have you seen Psycho?
I've seen Psycho. I've even seen the Gus Van Sant Psycho, which was god awful. So
yeah.
Putting it out there, but I mean, Hitchcock is something maybe I have to sort of.
You know what I would suggest? I would suggest go back to 1930s Hitchcock, because it's very theatrical and very stylized. If you start there, and if you watch movies like The Lady Vanishes and The 39 Steps, you'll realize, you'll be like, oh, okay, they're black and white, but the whole milieu, the theatricality of it all, and the witticisms and all that will prepare you for. What's really interesting is if you try and go back and watch, my favorite Hitchcock movie is Rear Window. I love that film. But again, Hitchcock, because of the way he made films, nowadays it's very mannered. But if you go back and look at his more theatrical films from the 30s, it's easier to get into his work once you see where he came from.
Yeah, I mean that's I think I want to do that as well. Like I mean I've seen North by Northwest. That's the only thing I've seen. So and I like Cary Grant in it a lot. So I mean that's I'm trying to move backwards. There's like a lot of old movies. Like I'm going through a list on Metacritic, like the highest rated movies of all time.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so many of them are still.
If you're digging Lawrence of Arabia, all I can tell you is watch Rear Window, because Rear Window is, I think, perhaps maybe the most accessible Hitchcock movie of all, because it's basically a dude laid up with a broken leg who has one of the hottest chicks you will ever see show up with a military. She packs her night bag with. She's like the dream girl of all time. She loves him to death, and he's like, well, I don't know. And it goes from there. Rear Window I think it's one of Hitchcock's most accessible films that everybody will watch. Watch Rear Window. It's my favorite Hitchcock, and get back to me.
Thank you, Yash. Thanks for joining us today. I was going to
Kudos to you, man. Wait till you watch the rest of Lawrence of Arabia. You're in for a treat.
Some of my favorite Hitchcocks are a movie called Lifeboat.
Of course. That's old school.
That's old school Hitchcock. And Rope, which was an attempt to make a one-shot film.
Yeah, and that's Tom Jr. Jackson bringing that up. You know, that was early American, or when after he immigrated from England.
And I also and Rope is also known because it had a trailer that was an actual prequel to the movie, which was really cool.
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
yes, it did.
All right, let me go ahead and.
I love that Yash is. Look at that. He's watching. Oh, he's got his cat there. What a beautiful cat, by the way. And it looks like Yash has a little surround going on there. Yeah, he does. Look at that. It's got this sort of nicely done, son. And that's good. I mean, you know, I'd prefer bigger speakers, but I appreciate you have surround sound because, you know, Maurice Jarre's score, it's pretty great. Pretty great. One of the greatest scores ever written, maybe.
Rob, we got a couple more super chats. A very generous $20 from some old guy in Hawaii. And this is harkening back to our talk about Google Translate. Google Translate is the Babel fish made real. Wait,
Babel
fish made
from
real.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, I switched to Spanish there for a moment. Sorry, Rob.
Dude, I gotta say that the Google Translate feature, I can't across my Japanese instructions. I'm like, oh my god, there's another. I have a giant 1/20th scale Roy Fokker's Valkyrie from Robotech or Macross that I've been intimidated to build, and now I'm like, oh,
you can do it.
Doesn't matter. I can just go build it.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Well, thanks for that super chat. And then we also have a Kevin Welburn with $2 Australian. After Dark Neo Noir Cinema Collection 2 is on its way. Boom!
Really?
Apparently,
bro. Send you on PayPal. Send me your PayPal link, and I'll send you the money.
It to you, so it's on its way.
I gotta tell you, I was so upset because, you know, Blue Steel, and maybe somebody will release it later, but maybe they won't. And you know what? Kevin Wellborn got me my Harry Palmer collection.
That's right,
because it's sold out, and I was like, oh my god.
Well, we don't have Blue Steel, but we have Blue Sunrise. So let's go.
Yeah, we do.
Welcome Blue Sunrise here. And you should be able to unmute now, Blue Sunrise. There you are.
There it goes.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks. What's up, guys?
This is I know I say it, but every time you come here, I love seeing you because your interface. I love this interface.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Dude, it's so good.
Bringing attention to the VTube community.
Come on, man. I'm all about it.
So I just wanted to say how fucking excited I am about Henry Cavill's new passion project. I can't fucking wait.
Dude,
we're finally getting live action Warhammer.
I am right there with you because look, as much as he and I do not what used to be my friend, colleague, whatever, and he's sued me twice. I didn't know much about Warhammer 40K. And this guy, Alec Peters, he had Titans, he had like his army, he paid people thousands of dollars.
Yeah. I just got back into it.
I have to tell you. And then I was getting, was it White Wolf? What's the name of the weekly magazine, the 40K weekly magazine?
I'm not sure.
And I the Warhammer people are a singular breed. They're like Star Trek fans. There's so much lore and so much awesomeness and so many, like I as a science fiction modeler, like getting into the figures, but the spaceships and heel versus babyface, Hot Toys as he's a painter of figures. So then there have been people that I've known that have told me about Warhammer 40K. Oh my God. I mean, everyone, I think that I know he's an actor, but as a fan, Henry Cavill is the man. If we get a great Warhammer 40K film, they could make 1,000 Warhammer movies. It'll never end.
Yes, there's so much content.
Now, I think it's a great move. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna. There's so much there, and again, it's gaming, so
they got the budget.
They got the budget, but there's so many books. There's so much stuff, and I love the design work. I mean, it's basically cyber steampunk, and it's incredible, and I can't wait. I hope it's great. I hope it's great. Like you, I am very excited. And by the way, for the record, if I could have any army, I'd want a Harlequin army. Just saying.
Oh, Harlequins, huh?
Yeah, I love Harlequins.
I think those are the top tier best ones in the game right now.
My problem with that though was I think when they were new, I want to say they were new like 7 years ago. I looked at them, I'm like, I can't paint those. That would
those ones are hard.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Wouldn't be prudent. But I'm very excited about, the great thing is Henry Cavill will make sure great filmmakers, because you still have to have a great showrunner, great writers,
right?
He can guide them. You have the ultimate.
Yeah. He's like he's like the executive producer or something for it now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So he's going to have a lot of say, and yep, exactly, making sure it's done right.
Yeah, because the potential for suck is enormous. But Games Workshop, they're not going to allow that the Citadel, whatever, they're not going to allow that to happen.
Yeah, Games Workshop's hardcore. Oh yeah,
hardcore.
Like, their novels, have you read any of their novels?
Yeah, they're good. Really
good. Mm-hmm.
There's so much great lore in there, and people are saying that Henry Cavill should play the Emperor, and I'm like, that's not bad.
I mean, I can see that.
But he's going to star in it. But should he just be like it depends. Like it's going to be interesting. Like how is he going to? I don't know what the story's going to be.
That's what I was. Yeah, because there's like you saying, there's just so much content, and the stories go on and on for like thousands of years, and there's just you could do so many different. You could make it about the Imperium, or you could make it about the Astartes, or you could make it about some of the
Astartes.
Other
there's the fan film, that Astartes fan film that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I love that. Those fan film shorts.
Really cool
on YouTube. Yeah, those are
really
great.
well done.
I just got I got what did I get? Me and my brother got the Elite Starter Edition box, and we kind of split it. He got the Space Marines, and I got the Necrons. So I just got back into the hobby myself. So I've been building a Necron army, and I've been spending just hours and hours every night painting.
Oh well, that's fun. There's like two European dudes, and I don't know what the name. There these two guys in Europe, and they bought like a 10-cent. I think maybe, and they bought the two Titans.
Sounds like Squidgar. Oh yeah, I think that is.
Those guys, I don't even. I'm not in. I mean, I like Warhammer,
Titans
but
are huge.
Yeah, I watch their videos and how they're. By the way, they're great painters too.
Incredible. Way better than me.
Yeah, I watch them, and I watched their whole journey of how can we go from a 10-cent figure to getting two Titans, and it's great. Those guys are great. I love their videos.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking about. I saw the exact same thing. Those Titans are those things are big, and they take a long time to paint. There's so much detail in the Titans.
So much detail. I mean, but those guys, they're really good painters.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
I
they
learned a
do
lot
like
from
they
watching
hand paint logos and their own designs.
That that is really hard and
that
really
shit
impressive.
is dope as fuck. I mean, those guys are awesome. By the way, everyone's going, what are you talking about? It's okay.
Yeah.
You'll learn once Henry Cavill gets his 40K thing going. People are
I
going,
hope
40K.
that I hope that it really brings more attention to it and like a good and it just makes the community even better. It's already a great community in the Warhammer world.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the thing about it is, it's a great universe. It's a really, I mean, it's so okay.
Very expansive.
Admittedly,
Very
it's
big.
so grimdark, but still,
Oh yeah,
it's awesome. I mean, it's yeah. Imagine a universe of only toxic masculinity. I love it.
Oh yeah, I mean, you have the Sisters of Battle, which are just an army of just women who are badass as fuck.
Oh yeah, totally. But no, I'm joking when I say that. But it's great that he's doing it. I'm very excited. Can't wait. Cannot wait.
Thanks, Blue Sunrise, for joining us once again. Always great to see you on your cool avatar.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
All right. By the way, Rob, you were talking about Rear Window earlier. This last year, a board game of Rear Window came out, and it's actually made it to several top 10 lists of best board games of the year.
Really?
Yeah. And I want to say it's like a hidden identity type of thing, you know, along the lines of a Clue, where you're trying to figure out you're playing the Jimmy Stewart character and you're looking out the window. Yeah. So
I'm in.
Anyway,
Count me in.
I'll look for it and send you some information about it. All right. Israel is joining us. Let's go ahead. You should be able to unmute now, Israel.
What's up, dude? You've disappeared.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I. I was gonna commit to the whole thing. Let's just skip to the end.
You should do it.
Rob casting at you, the members of this, the post geek syndicate. How you doing, Rob?
It's pretty good, dude. That's pretty good.
You got.
I gotta say that's pretty good. Well done.
One episode, the Transformers episode of Robservations. No,
we haven't done that yet. You want to come on and do it? I'll do one. You want to?
When Rise of the Beast comes out, you
okay,
have to let me on for like a spoiler stream.
Oh no, I will commit to you. You come on the show.
Yeah.
We talk. We do an entire show. It can go on for 6 hours. I don't care.
Yes.
Now here's the thing. What I'm going to do though. Here's what I would request. I would like to interview you. Here's the thing. I'm casting you as the Transformers expert.
Okay.
Okay. Now you're going to come on the show and we're going to talk about it's Rise of the Beasts, right?
Yes.
I'm going to interview you about the entire Transformers franchise and where Rise of the Beast fits in. And we're going to do the ultimate Transformers deep dive. Are you down?
I am down. I still feel like you're about to be like, maybe.
No, well, here's the thing. I have to say this. Transformers sort of, I was a little too old to get into Transformers, and the toy line, I objected to the fact that the very first Transformers toy line borrowed from other Japanese toy lines and stuff. So I didn't dig that. However, I love Japanese super and real robots. And Transformers was all derived out of it. So I would never disparage Transformers. I love Transformers 1 and I will defend this movie. Transformers Dark of the Moon.
You want to see my Blu-ray of Dark of the Moon? Look at this. It's got like a 3D Bumblebee.
Yeah.
You flip it over, it's Shockwave in 3D.
Yeah, dude. I mean, let me tell you, that movie starts out with them landing on the moon in 1969. There's nothing about and the entire last battle, the 45 minutes, that in terms of somebody, if you are a special effects fan, the Battle of Chicago at the end of Dark Side of the Moon is one of the greatest special effects sequences ever done. Ever. and no one talks about it, and Cinefex didn't even do an article on it, and they should. I am a huge fan of that film, and people, look, I get it, man. Michael Bay is crass. I understand. And I would say that, honestly, Bumblebee is probably the best Transformers movie. I know, look at you. Like I know. I get
Bro,
it.
I got the IMAX 3D version. Age of Extinction, baby.
Okay, you're wrong, but that's okay.
You know, okay, so I keep saying that I'm going to send in the letter. I haven't had time to watch the movie again.
Here's the thing. Don't send in the letter. Come on the show.
You know
We'll
what,
do
Rob?
an all Transformers all the time show. You can say, I will give the floor to you. The floor is Israel's.
Well,
tell me.
But
Tell
I would
us.
like to, because I ramble in a long form. So
Don't worry, I'll stop you rambling. I'm going to be there to moderate the conversation.
Okay. And this would be closer to Rise of the Beasts release?
No, it should be the week of after it's come out.
Okay.
So after it's come out, we'll talk. Don't get nervous. Come on now.
Well,
trust me.
I'm analyzing in my brain what's gonna happen.
Okay, here's the thing. You're a young man.
Mm-hmm.
You're much younger than me. What I would be interested in about having you on the show is, as a lifelong Transformers fan, I don't know much. It's very much a blind spot in my genre knowledge.
Okay.
So what I would be doing is bringing you on. I'm going to promote you as the quintessential Transformers imagination connoisseur. So I would expect, and whether you can live up to that or not, I will let other people decide. But as far as I know, you're the biggest Transformers fan that I know.
I'd have to do I know quite a bit. I'd have to do some catching up because there were some shows I watched when I was a lot younger. And I might
Yeah, it's
have to
fine.
catch
It
up
doesn't
for
matter.
lore
It
purposes.
doesn't matter. But look, dude, you're dying on the Age of Extinction hill,
dude.
That's all I need to know.
Look, I already know what I'm gonna say. I just need to rewatch the movie to make sure there's nothing that I don't know I'm gonna say yet.
Okay.
And I was thinking, because I was just gonna send in a letter for you to read on Robservations, and I was gonna ask before you just derailed everything I was gonna ask.
Sorry.
I was gonna ask
that.
if instead of a letter I could send in like an edited 7-minute op-ed on it, and if you
can do that if you want. I think you should do that anyway. That doesn't absolve you from the responsibility of coming on the show the week of Rise of the Beasts to be on this show for 3 or 4 hours talking about your love of the Transformers franchise.
Oh, dude, I'll go into why Megatron's my favorite character, and dude, you know what? I will tell you why the criticism that there's too many humans in Transformers is the stupidest criticism ever. I will explain that to you.
Dude, I'm in. Trust me. And by the way, I am now looking forward to this.
Dude, all I'll say is Transformers, while it might be called Transformers, the story is about the soul of humanity. And so when people tell me that humans are too involved in these movies, I'm like, you're missing the entire. It's about them.
Okay, man. You know, you're an articulate young man. I am perfectly willing to, but I'm gonna look. I will be respectful. I promise.
Okay,
but I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire, man.
All right. I got this one thing. Give me 10 seconds. I'm gonna run across my room and grab something.
All right. By the way, I'm actually excited for this because, you know, I'm not a huge fan of the Transformers franchise. Not that I don't like it. I just didn't know about it. Okay, Israel.
I got this for Christmas. It is so Obi-Wan Kenobi ship from Star Wars, but it's a Transformer. So it's a crossover that Star Wars.
You're crossing the streams, dude. Didn't you see Ghostbusters? Don't you know what happens when you cross the streams?
Yeah, look, he even has like Obi-Wan's beard. I don't know if you can see that. This is so weird.
Look,
I'm afraid to open it.
Look, here's the thing. I love transforming robots. And as a fan of the Japanese real, or basically, pardon me, super robot genre of the 70s, the transforming, one of my favorite things in the world is Go Nagai's Getter Robo G, which has 3 ships transforming into robots. And depending on which order they go in, you've got Poseidon, Dragon, Getter Ligar. I mean, I'm a fan. I love that. However, you know, it started out as a crass toy commercial and it became something else. What I need you to do, Israel, is you're going to convince me about why the Transformers is one of the great franchises of the late 20th century, now 21st century. And I'm going to grill you. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. I'm not going to let you. All right, you're going to tell me all about it.
Well, we'll have to wait until then. But thank you, Israel, for
June, ladies and gentlemen. June. I think it's June, right?
Yeah.
June. Israel and I.
Israel and Rob.
Israel and I are gonna not fight it out. I'm gonna take a young, articulate Transformers fan, and we're gonna delve into why he thinks Age of Extinction is his favorite Transformers.
It's got the Optimus Prime helmet right there.
More than meets the eye.
All right. Great to see you, Israel. We'll see you next time.
Always good to see you, man.
All right. We're coming up. We'll see, Rob. We are at 3 hours, 47 minutes. Will we finish before the 4-hour mark today?
I don't know.
It
I
will
mean,
depend
Justin has to. We're only got Justin left, right?
On Justin, he's here.
Yeah, just me. I'm the last one.
Woohoo!
What's up, buddy?
I'm doing okay. Mild cold, but I'm all right. It's just
It is
like,
cold.
just
I'm wearing this
I
new.
finally got better. Like I've been
Christmas.
it's like sick on and off for the last few months. Just like it's just, you know, just bad luck. Otherwise, I had a nice holiday. Oh man, my family gave me some nice 4K gifts for Christmas. I got
really
No Way Home finally in 4K, but
nice.
And
Nice.
of course, I had to have Top Gun Maverick.
Dude,
4K.
it's so good.
I know. Can't wait to. I'm looking forward to going to the behind the scenes stuff because I really want to see like how they filmed all the the stuff on the planes and everything. And man, just so much stuff's going on. You and Dieter are gonna have so much to talk about. I mean, between what Vinegar Syndrome has done this week, and then Scream Factory just announced a whole bunch of stuff. It's just
Exorcist 3 in 4K.
I know. I saw that. I was like, Rob's gonna be a happy man. He loves Exorcist 3 in 4K. And it's weird that's coming out in 4K before Exorcist 4K is coming out this year.
I know. Well, it's funny because that's Morgan Creek. And Warner Brothers has released Exorcist 3 in their box set, but then Scream Factory picked it up. And they, by the way, they released the original cut, you know, even though they had the VHS footage or whatever. So
yeah,
it's nice to see Scream Factory finally put it out.
Yeah. So that was cool. And man, like so the Vinegar Syndrome surprised me. And it's like because I was like, oh well, what cool titles are they release for their 10th anniversary, their big subscriber because they got all the sales going on. So From Beyond in 4K. I was like, I pre-ordered that. Got 2 other movies that during the sale. So I was like, I love Reanimator more, but that's From Beyond is still fun. I'm like that was an inspire, especially because it's got.
Well, I think From Beyond, it's peak Barbara Crampton.
Yeah.
Who's been on this channel? I mean,
it's got all the old. They're porting over all the old features from the out of print Scream Factory release, and they got a new hour and a half making of documentary where they interview everybody. They talked to Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, Ken Foray, who's still with us.
He's great. Well, I mean, can we talk about? I think Barbara Crampton. She must have a portrait aging in the attic or something because
Dory Gray.
I mean, she's first. I mean, if you like, a lot of it, she is so beautiful and so funny and so delightful. And one of my favorite. You know, we did a quick interview that's on this channel. I love her. I mean, she is amazing, and you know, she's such a down to earth person, but also a movie star, and she's now producing, and I have the utmost respect for her. But
yeah, and she's busy. She's making new movies.
She's people love her. You know, Barbara Crampton is one of the great they talk about scream queens or whatever. I mean,
she's like horror royalty. She's horror.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Barbara Crampton they have acquitted themselves in terms of their scream queen reputations. Yeah. They're both just delightful, delightful people. And Barbara Crampton is so generous of her time and so understands fandom. And to see From Beyond, I'm not gonna lie. It'll be great to get that.
Yeah, it'll be great to watch that in 4K. And I know and Vinegar Syndrome does good work with their 4K, so that was exciting.
Their 4Ks are amazing.
Oh man. I'm working on getting I'm gonna try and get that Highlander steelbook from Best Buy. Because I saw that one when you guys did the top 10 with I was like, oh wow, that's
with
much
Jeff from
better
Films at Home.
Yeah, that was much better than just like the standard release that I've seen. It's like I want to get that because of the slip cover and everything, and the Starship Troopers one. I'm gonna get my hands on that.
It's awesome, and the disc. I mean, I know they released. I just didn't have it on 4K. It's great. I love it.
I don't even have it on Blu-ray. I realized I only have the old DVD. So I was like, well, I gotta get that. And plus, I saw that when I looked up on Blu-ray.com, it's got a new 25th anniversary retrospective.
Yeah,
where they talked to just about almost all the cast except probably I think Neil Patrick Harris maybe. It's right. So that I was like, oh, that sold me. That has one of the best commentary tracks. That commentary track with Verhoeven, Casper Van Dien, Dina Meyer, Neil Patrick Harris is one of the best commentary tracks I've
Paul
heard.
Verhoeven's commentaries are the best.
Oh yeah, like his one with Schwarzenegger and Total Recall. Oh my god.
Oh, one of my favorites. And look, this is as an aside, since you brought up Arnold Schwarzenegger and John Milius on Conan the Barbarian. It is one of the great, because John Milius is trying to pontificate, and Schwarzenegger is like, "Look, there's my friend Sven. He's so big, and it's
yeah, look at my muscles. Look
so good."
Yeah.
And
So
John
hilarious.
Carpenter and Kurt Russell on Escape from New York.
Yeah. So yeah, I gotta get those. Oh man, so much 4K goodness coming. It's gonna be quite the year. It's like
so much good stuff.
Yeah, so much good stuff. And I definitely want to get some more stuff from 88 Films. I want to get that. Thankfully, it's going to be in the U.S. release, that box set of the In the Line of Duty films, because I watched the first one, Yes, Madam, with Michelle Yeoh and Cynthia Rothrock. It's
So
on
good.
Prime right now. I found it was on Prime. I watched it. Oh my god, that was a hoot. It's not the best movie, but oh my god,
No,
it's so weird because that was so early in the careers, and it's really cool seeing them just like kick ass together, and they never made another movie together.
I know.
It's a shame because it's just like the final act where they just like cut loose and are just like destroying the bad guys' goons.
Oh yeah,
it's like the best. They get to show off.
We are living in such a great time if you're a film fan. I mean, we can complain and bitch and moan, but classic cinema, Asian cinema, we're in a golden age. A golden age.
Yeah, because I haven't got anything for 88 Films, so I hear they do good work. So that's something
They do great work.
definitely
I think my Shaw Brothers Inframan, they put that
looks
out.
like my time's up. Thanks, Rob.
Oh my God. Thank you. Always good to see you, Justin.
Yep.
Well, Roberto, I think we finished early.
We did. We finished early. We do have one super chat from Stubble McShave saying, at the Burnettwork, if there's time, you can tell Rob that I sent 2 tips the other day when he talked with Tom Conkle.
Oh, I thought we got to all of them. Well, tonight I'll get to those. I got more stuff to get to. I'll see that. But I want to thank, of course, everybody for being members of the channel. Thank you very much. I love these membership chats. They're so good.
Before we
Roberto, I want to thank you for hosting them.
Of course. I'm just going to put the link one more time in the chat. If people want to order one of these stickers from me, like I said, I'm just going to send them out while supplies last. No charge. Just fill out the form, and I'm happy to send you one of those. Then
I must go because I have to pee like a racehorse.
All right, then let's let you go, Rob. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, members. I'll be on tonight with and Lael Rockwell for our first midnight musings of the year, and also tomorrow, Dieter Bastian and I are back with Let's Get Physical Media.
We'll see you all then. Thanks, everybody.